Hello.
Yo, what's happening?
We fucking did it.
We did it. This is episode 2 of the Couch Cowards. Mate, this one is so packed. It's like a sold out Nickelback concert, mate. It is packed to the brim with spooky, ooky, and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we have basically a cult episode today. So we had the chance of interviewing a surviving member from the cult yesterday who was in the cult until he was 15 years old. And then he was rescued by a police force, which was run by a guy named Lex. And we actually ended up getting an interview with Lex afterwards. So, and we actually went to the house today and got a little clip there.
We broke into the house for the worms. Like there's no sugarcoating it. We broke the law. It's the second episode in.
So no snitches in the chat,
yeah,
please.
that's it. Lex gave us full permission in the interview, and he was going to escort us. Nah, bro, we want to go incognito. But so we are going to play that for you now, and at the end too, we're going to open up the phones because we know you worms love that phone. So here it is.
Same lock screen there.
Evening ringworms. Today we are at the, I can't even remember what it's called.
Fernie Creek compound.
There we go. Yeah, we
for
are.
the family. So they had a couple properties, and this is one of them, and it's pretty fucking eerie. Well, shall we go over?
Yeah, let's go. Over here. No, here. That's where they do the cult burn off. The cremation.
Oh,
dude. Don't stop filming, dude. You guys need to turn around and talk to the camera.
this is where the magic happens, man.
This is where they get the trading part. Oh, fuck.
This is fucking eerie. Last time over here, there was a light on in one of the rooms.
Like, comment, and subscribe. What's that? I don't know.
Big ass balls.
I know it's good.
See, that's pterodactyl.
They're baby pterodactyls. Hang on. Dude, that scared the fuck out of me, dude. Here you go, you'll be able to see everything. Get some light in there.
No.
Yeah, nah. That'd be too good.
What are those birds, dude?
I don't know. They're crazy,
They're
aren't
like monkey birds. Maybe they had LSD.
they? I'll go into the back. We've got this rock, though.
There's people here.
That's bad.
There's people here.
Okay, we actually probably should go.
Cool.
You gotta fight all of us down there anyway. So
Yeah.
right. This is perfect. As long as our car's not on racks. Yeah. Go back and mysteriously have 2 pop tires.
This is well down the hill.
Oh yeah. My car doesn't have a handbrake either, so if it's still there. You fucking got me on edge. Yeah, there's people in the bush.
Yeah, George W.
Yeah, that's some midsummer shit.
Dang.
House. I didn't think it's gonna be actually. I didn't think there were gonna be people in there.
Fuck it up. Oh god, guys, what'd you think? That was fucked.
It was actually scary.
Yeah, like I'm not spiritual in any fucking aspect, but like that was weird.
Yeah.
Like it was like I thought it was just gonna be a house like the other one. So there was 2 compounds of this thing that I know of, and I think we hit the best one up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, like no shit. Trying to get some photos and shit, and then there was like people legit in the bush.
Yeah, like there's like a I guess maybe the owner or something like that, because I don't know, it still ran somehow. Like they still have electricity and stuff, but yeah, you could see through the bushes. They must have been working on that second property. As soon as we started hearing that, we kind of freaked out.
Fucking, this was us when we fucking. I heard him. That was me, and then this was us as we were out of there. We were out of there quick sticks. But anyway, so that very place we've got an interview with our mate Ben, and he was actually lived there for 15 years, I think it was. He said, and yeah, his story's nuts.
Yeah, it's a long interview, so it goes for around an hour, and I mean, it's pretty heavy, but yeah, I guess it'll get a little bit more lighthearted as it goes through, like once it gets to maybe Lex's interview and stuff like that.
If you want to see a retired cop light us up,
yeah, he did
just
have a
stay
laugh
around.
at us,
Yeah.
just the look of us. So
Yeah.
how did we land the interview? Just honestly, Google, like found their websites, and yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised just sending out an email in like a professional format, even though we're definitely not that type. Seems to work. So
Kind of tricked him.
yeah. All right, we'll start this.
Yeah, we'll do this.
All right. Well, today we are with Ben Shenton, who was previously a member of the Family, a cult from Melbourne, Australia. Ben, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, good start there. So, what am I, 48 years old, up to the age of 15, and I paused there to say 15 because I was actually told I was 14, and when I was removed from the cult, I found out I was actually older than the birth date that they'd given me. So yeah, grew up in the cult. My mum became part of it in the early 60s, and when I was born, I was within 18 months handed over. and my mother disappeared into the background, my biological mother, and I grew up believing I was the son of a woman called Anne Hamilton Byrne, who at that stage was running a cult called the Great White Brotherhood, or the Family, as it became known. And I spent 15, or so the rest of my childhood years in this cult until August the 14th, 1987. Some 100 police descended, rescued us, which I'm very grateful for. And I spent the good part of 3 years trying to find out the world that I had suddenly become part of, that I'd looked out upon from behind a barbed wire fence.
Wow.
Suddenly I'm part of this world, trying to fit in and trying to work out what the rules are, and began to find my feet. So that has become long ago, and to the point where it's like talking about another person, thankfully. But yes, we're talking some almost 40 years ago now.
Wow.
So it's a long time ago. I'm very much a different person. So moved on, got married when I was 20. I've been married for nearly 28 years, hold a job down at IBM, which I've had for about 24 years. I have 2 adult children, which I'm very proud of, doing very well in life. And yeah, live life over in Perth, part of a church community, which I've been part of for over 30 years, living life and loving it.
Wow.
That's good, man.
Yeah, that's an amazing
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
You've
That's
definitely lived a different life to, I would say, the average person. So it's good to see you've come out on in a positive manner in
Yeah,
the
on the
other
tail
side.
end of it, yeah.
Yeah, I am a lot more fortunate than others. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
So
it's
yes,
a
it's been
testament
good.
to
It's
yourself,
been a
yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
So
Well, so was it hard? So what was, just say, when you were rescued? So what was the deal after that? So you had to go to school and try and, I guess, make friends with
yeah, good.
everyone, and yeah, how did that go?
Yes, so very ill-equipped to do it.
Yeah.
Part of any, and I guess you're talking community, is you have your own rules that are there, and I'd call every community a community's underlying legal tenets, a cult. So every community has what it enforces, its practices, its visions, its goals, all of those sorts of things. So the community I grew up in was designed, and the motto that was run by was unseen, unheard, unknown. So unable, or very purposely taught to stay disconnected from society, very lacking in skills to build relationships with people. Anytime we attempted to do this, the leader, Anne Hamilton Byrne, would purposely break those relationships up.
Wow.
I had very little trust on people my own age, because of the rules that we live by. If anyone violated those, we were punished. And very early on, when we're talking punishment, brought into a room, everyone interrogated, abuse that would happen, beatings, on and on it went. So from a very young age, I began to put my hand up. I remember one of my earliest memories was actually saying that I'd done this crime, so to speak. It didn't take me long to register. This wasn't a very smart idea. If I kept signing up for and saying I'd done things, I would be in a world of pain. So I very quickly worked out, well, if I knew who'd done it, tell on them, and everything good. And we ran by a rule book, so the underlying legal tenets. They were arbitrary in some cases. So when I got pulled out of the cult, I was equipped, in essence, not to have relationships with people my own age. I treated those in charge, which would be teachers, would be law enforcement, all of those. Even though we were taught to distrust the police, we were told that they were there to take us away in a bag and drown us.
Wow.
Authority that I saw it was the absolute, and I had no file for relating to them as people. It was more an enforced to please, a force to please.
Yeah.
So fitting into society for me was, the rules were suddenly extremely different, and all the rules that I'd learned to survive. And when I say probably the rules, the mechanisms, because we all responded differently, but mine was the mechanism I used to survive when applying those mechanisms to functioning in society that most people grow up in, Judeo-Christian worldview, Australian society, just did not work. You don't rat on your mates. You need to have events and situations you can connect and relate to. Men tends to be, well, we're back in the 80s, 90s, it's going to be music, it's going to be films, it's going to be sports, cars, girls. On all of those, I was zero. Had nothing to file or connect with. So I really struggled. It wasn't long before, just depressive, couldn't connect with people. It was so bad. My nickname at high school was Psycho, and well earned. The usual just mucking around that would happen before you go into school in the locker room, basketballs, tossed around. One hit the back of my head. I grabbed it, angrily trotted out through the school. Yeah, absolutely enraged that someone had hurt me. Tossed the basketball onto the field, stomped back through a group of people, grabbed my school books and sat down in the very schoolroom of these people that I just got incredibly angry with. So that was one of many. Trip around Central Australia that one of the teachers had organised for Year 11 camp. I went with one friend and came back with alienating about 50 people and zero friends, just not knowing how to function. No fault of their own. In fact, a couple of these young men made it their English project to try and help socialise me. And it was a little bit more than it was. They were genuinely trying to help. There's a couple of guys there I look back on that took me on of let's help this poor boy. And it wasn't really pity. It was just they were curious. They wanted to help out, but they did their best. I was a very slow student, to say the least. But anyway, time moved on. I've been able to assimilate, but no file for even getting on trains and buses. I remember getting, buses that the door opens for you, trains it doesn't. I had no idea that they were different. Went onto a train, tried to get off at the station close to where it was, and the doors didn't open for me. And bye-bye, and I got lost and took an hour trying to get back home. So just normal stuff that you just grow up and your parents teach you and your mates teach you. It was just anathema for me. So very difficult. Yeah, thankfully it didn't last forever, but the first probably 3 years was very disorientating and very difficult, connecting to society and learning what the rules were and what's appropriate, what you can and can't say, what the rules of engagement are with boys and girls, and not ratting on your mates, and which is of course what I brought up doing. Not that I had many, but it was a shocker. Anyway, we got through it.
Yeah, no, we're glad to see you on the other side. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, all good. A day in the life of.
Yeah.
So could you describe like your average day in the cult?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the movie Groundhog's Day springs to mind. Every day felt like it was the same day, but there was slight variations. So I'm thinking back, well documented in a book one of the girls, Sarah Hamilton Byrne, wrote, Unseen, Unheard, Unknown. And it was very regimented, where you could literally, I think from memory, it was up about 5:30 in the morning. We slept in different rooms. There was the boys' room, which is of course where I was, that was turned into the Hatha yoga room that everyone was. It was an old boat where we lived on a lake, Lake Eildon, a very popular, anyone in Victoria will know that as a holiday location, Lake Eildon. So we lived on there. The house, two-story house, actually had a wooden two-story. The bottom area where we were, the boys' room, was where the boat used to be kept, and they'd go down the slipway into the lake. So it was a larger area there. So we'd get up, very cold, obviously through winter. We'd quickly, everyone file out to the toilet, back in, Hatha yoga and meditation. That would be anywhere, 30 minutes to an hour. We'd listen to tapes from either Anne Hamilton Byrne that she'd put together on whenever she preached down at her sect headquarters at Shanti Kirtan Lodge, just outside of Melbourne in the Dandenong Ranges, or Swami Muktananda, who was a guru of an Indian guy as well. So he was we'd listen to his tapes. Then we'd pack up the schoolroom, get ready for school, put everything away. Then it was a quick run. We'd then have fruit for breakfast. School went through to about 12. There was for memory meditation that was done. We'd do the afternoon, and then there was yoga, meditation in the evening, dinner, homework, bed. And that was 5 days a week. The weekends were almost exactly the same, except the breakfast and lunch were turned into a brunch around about 10 o'clock. It was a vegetarian, vegan diet that we all had. There would be walks around the lake. We'd sometimes go down to a property close by called Sunny Corner. That was a sect property. We'd maybe take a run down there. Yeah, and then in the evenings when television finally came around, which would have been in the late 70s from memory, it was very controlled what we'd watch. We would either have films that they would put on that were all vetted, or yeah, and they ranged from James Bond through to Dr. Zhivago. There was biblical series we'd see as well. I mean, it was quite an eclectic group, but all of it was looked at, monitored, right down to the newspapers that we would
So
at
would
times
Anne
be given.
decide on the movies and?
Very much so. So it was directed what we could and couldn't see, as well as what I'd call her cult members as well. So even the radio playing, they'd listen to it, turn things off. The newspapers, there'd often be articles cut out of those. So classic censoring. So every culture, every society chooses what is the narrative, what you listen to, what you don't, what's accepted. I mean, we look at the current environment we all live in at the moment. What disinformation, misinformation is algorithmed out of what we're allowed to see. People live in the bubble of what the oligarchs decide we can and can't view.
Fed to you,
So it's nothing new of what is and isn't allowed to be done. I just got off file for this very early on, and it was very obvious when you'd get a broadsheet newspaper with 3 columns chopped out. Now we get a search engine and information on certain health products or certain political views, or certain information is deleted for us. We don't even know it's there. So cults are cults, whether they're political or religious.
I agree. Do most people in your life know about your past, or do you choose to keep that a secret, or like to yourself?
Yeah, look, apart from the occasional twitch, people treat me as fairly normal, for a slight sense of humour there. So no, a very good question. I would probably share it with more people than others that I grew up with. That would probably be, you'd get different responses from all of us. Probably why, and I do share it, not with every single walking person all of the time, as it were, but where the opportunity would come up where it's going to help people. I'm happy to go there and share it. And probably where I began to speak about my story was back when I was in Ballarat. I was pastoring, and people would come into church, and you would begin to see similar themes: broken families, dealing with self-medication on different levels. And while it might not have been drugs and alcohol for me, but I was seeing very similar themes in here, similar type of damage, almost responses that they would have in life, where they'd go, why am I acting this way? This is unhealthy, but I feel I'm wired this way. So I began to just, I guess, share my story with people of what had gone on. And the other thing that tends to happen as you're reaching out in the community and dealing with people that have been in prison, people that have had drug addictions, alcohol problems, broken families, is that when their life's being restored, quite often, I mean, you will share the story of how did you become a Christian? What's your background? I mean, even at the moment, the church community, I mean, there's people that have been ice addicts for 20 years that are now restored, and you'll share the story of what happened. So a story of hope. So yes, I would probably say that I share my story often enough, and definitely my children grew up hearing the story. People would come over, you'd sit down, spend time with them as you're helping them, and I'd share the story over time. They'd ask, "Where'd you come from? What's your story?" and stuff. And I said, "Well, I've got a bit of an interesting background
Yes.
where I came from and stuff." And so the story would be trotted out, and my daughter's joked at times. She could probably tell the story better than I could at times. Has heard it a bit over the times. And then, as I said, I've formally given many a talk in different meetings like Probus, and travelled through Southeast Asia at different times, just helping out the church, and told them the story there as well in India and other places. So yes, I've told it quite often.
Do you stay in touch with any of the kids you grew up with that were in the cult as well, or?
That's a great question. And I remember when I first came out, within the first couple of years, of someone saying to me, there's a fair chance as 10 to 20 years pass by and longer, you probably won't be in each other's pockets as much. It's almost like having grown up with a family. You just go your own way. I remember at the time sort of scratching my head going, that's a bit weird, but, because all I'd ever known was growing up with my brothers and sisters. We had this similar experience, similar life. We stayed in contact. Those initial probably 4 to 5 years, we lived around each other's lives, either together or very close. Yes, as the years have gone past, we've separated. And look, I have some level of contact with some of them, to the level at which they wish it, but very much we've gone on and had our own lives. And look, there are events and situations that happen that would bring us back together. And almost like, I guess, say for example at Anzac, dawn service, where you have the gunfire breakfast and you'll have veterans getting together, and there's this comfortableness and this they've been in the same battlefield together, or same environment together. You don't have to explain to them the context, the culture, the reference points. They're just there. So I guess there's this element of, when we do get together, of just there's this common experience we've had without having to walk people through the questions. You just get it. So yeah, while I haven't maintained close friendships, there's still connection with some of them. And then there's others which I 100% respect, that, never speak about it, never want to have anything to do with that past. That's how they've coped with it. And I guess me being fairly vocal about it would choose to have very little to do with me, which I completely respect. And as I said, life's just moved on anyway. So it's all good. So yeah, to varying degrees.
Was it true that Julian Assange was a part of the family?
If I had $1 for every time I got asked that question, and I don't, Jesse, I don't diminish the question there, because it's a fascinating wrinkle in a man's life who, in a sense, is an enigma to us all, considering what he's been involved with. The purveyor of secrets, with all that's gone on, spent time hidden away. And so when they began, in a sense, the media picked up on his stories as he came front and center with the 2016 elections, with the great dump that happened and the other stuff before then. The media began researching this guy's life, and I began to be asked quite often, was he part of it? And the answer to it is not a formal member. His only real connection, from what I've researched and what I've picked up, and those that have the police, and I guess you're going to be in contact with Lex De Man, he'd say the same, is that there is no formal connection. His closest one really was his mother. At one point, had a relationship with a sect member. Dialed in very quickly that this I guess stepfather or her partner guy that she married or was in relationship with was part of this cult, and she chose to steer very clear of the cult very early on. Right. So while this guy was connected, she never really was. Therefore, Julian wasn't, but he did spend the vast majority of his life, in a sense, on the run. She kept him off the grid, if I could say. And it's really not my story to dial in until I don't have the in-depth details. From what I've picked up and what you can read online, is that he homeschooled, in a sense, or was always moving on from school to school, incredibly bright. Got him a modem very early on, became part of the old boards that you join up to. Coded whatever else, and off he went on his own way. And it is what it is. But yeah, it's not really part of the cult, but definitely a connection there, which adds to the mystique and the
Yes, I agree.
story,
Yeah.
which is why
The
the
wrinkle, like
media
you
always
said.
came asking. Yeah, and if it was true, wouldn't it be even cooler? Suddenly the family
Very
becomes,
wild as kid.
wow,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, no, and the guys had a tough enough life without having been part of the cult, the
Yeah.
family as
Yeah.
well.
Seems that way.
Do you have any like sympathy for the aunties that were like ringed into the cult or anything like that? Or
Yeah, and look, one of those was my mother.
Hmm.
And we'll talk to that a little bit as we move on. But yeah, I'd have to say that what you believe is very important. It's critical.
Hmm.
And the level at which people digress from truth, and I would say the Bible, as what as Pilate said to Jesus, "What is truth?" As Jesus began to dial in with him, the level that and societies that have built their values upon the Word of God, families, individuals, and I would say probably my life would attest to that, along with many millions of others. It tends to work and work well. Now, when you reject that, and I would say back in the culture of the 60s, there was a real clash between the Judean Christian worldview and communism. The hippie movement, spirituality, which really is that clash, because morals is upstream of culture, which is upstream of politics, which is upstream of the societies we live in. It's all part of the rules, what's spoken about, what governments push and allow, has outcomes. And when you had an explosion of the sexual revolution that was hand in hand with communism, you can track that back into the 20s and 30s over in Russia, where there was naked communes. There's posters you can look up, and you actually has on there, it's every comrade's right to have sex and give sex whenever anyone wants it. Incredibly liberal. That was the 60s. And so many of these aunts, cult members, had come out of the product of a loosening and a rejection of the principle that we're all born with sin. We naturally do wrong. You don't have to teach a child not to touch the paint. We just touch it. That little bundle of joy you hold in your arms isn't long before they shake their fist and go, "No, I'm not doing this." Or as a first word they learn, it's in us. We're not a blank slate, as some would say. So that's Dr. Spock in the 40s, 47, I think, came up with this whole concept to remove the idea that you have to bring boundaries to your appetites. These, if you do any of that, you'll just you'll ruin this poor little individual, and you'll ruin them. And it was only nearly 30 years later he recants, saying we've brought up a nation of spoiled brats. Well, the 60s, late 60s, 70s, they unleashed those upon the world. And many cult members, the aunts which were those, were the parents of these children that had been sold a lie, that were looking for answers. And you had the Jesus People movement, which was people going, the summer of love with drugs, sex, rock and roll, whenever you want, however you want, didn't work. And there was this arm wrestle between the occult, between, I'd say, the left, neo liberalism, that had bled its way through into universities in the 60s with the Beatles thing, "So You Want to Start a Revolution" song that spoke into that. And these aunts really, when they rejected the Judean Christian worldview, they rejected the truth, became deceived with this lie, that Anne was providing an answer to a very real problem in society. She created community, she created answers, she really connected with them as an individual, caring and loving and all of that. But we look back in history saying, here was a woman who was very messed up herself, that used and abused these people, that controlled them, that broke up their own families. Many of these aunts are coming out of broken marriages, broken families, children that were very messed up, and bought this bill of goods, that like a credit card, gives me some goodies to start with, but you eventually got to pay for this. And the interest was huge. So these aunts came to a place where they were living 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, coming up to look after us. We weren't their children. We were, they were very tired. They were worn out. They were giving their money to look after these unappreciative kids that own broken homes themselves. I mean, anyone with any, and that's why it's such a good question. You've got to feel for them in the end. And it's interesting. One of the aunts, Patricia, actually went to Lex De Man when he tracked her down over, and Lex De Man being investigative police officer who was eventually became in charge of Forest Task Force that investigated the cult and managed to find Anne over where she was hiding on a sect property in America and bring her back. So he began to really investigate all of this. And he connected with Patricia McFarlane, who was over in England at this stage, and she went to him, gave many an interview on what had happened, really feeling a guilt. And I'm not surprised. My mother, to this day, has had to process that she handed her son over, and I'm in relationship with her now, to what she believed to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Anne Hamilton Byrne, and it wasn't the idyllic world that she thought it was. And so she struggled to process it. Another one of the aunts, Margot Mclennan, before she died, I caught up with her in Canterbury, spent about 5 hours talking to her, and she was struggling with the idea that she'd been part of something that allowed us to go through water torture, where we were all lined up, all of us belted, heads held under the water, for 10, 20 seconds, pull out. Did you do it? Did you do it? Head back under. You're gasping for breath, blue in the face, think you're going to die, sort of stuff. That happened on 2 occasions. So her commentary on that is that she'd heard one of the girls say that we younger ones were crying because we were concerned that there wouldn't be enough water in the bucket when it was our turn. And of course I went, Margot, what? Of course we weren't crying because of that. We were terrified. She goes, I'd rather believe what I'd heard. So what you're dealing with here is because this is oftentimes you only realize you're part of something that's bad, morally corrupt, what the underlying rules are, what it makes you do when you bought the bill of goods, as it were, in retrospect. And processing that you've been made to do things you're ashamed of. It would be similar to people in Nazi Germany, that the authority at the time said, if you do not tell on the Jews, if you don't tell on the gypsies, if you don't turn these people in to go into these camps, you will be considered as bad and responsible. Wasn't Daniel Andrews trying to pass an omnibus law that anyone that they saw that didn't adhere to the COVID rules were better to tell on them? And you had the concerned Karens, and I get it, freaked out people that were fearful of their lives because they believed that COVID-19 was a death sentence, wanting to make sure that everyone adhered to the rules that would protect them. So you can create totalitarian governments and cultures, create an environment where well-meaning individuals can end up doing stuff that they later regret that can cause great damage. So yes, I have a great empathy and concern for them, and in a sense trying to deprogram my mother and take her on a journey to accept that what she believed and what she was part of was actually dangerous, has been a journey. It's a journey. You can't help but feel empathy, but at the same time, adults that are responsible, you can be sincere but sincerely wrong. So I think there's some level of culpability, but you would understand why there are, and that's why I'd put it down to Anne Hamilton Byrne and some of the people that remained with her were very evil people.
Yeah, we think so too. What were your thoughts on Anne before and after you were rescued?
Yeah, it's my earliest memories of Anne was this was mummy. This was this woman who her eyes followed you everywhere, but in photos that were placed up around her. She was revered by everyone, and yet she's mummy to me. She'd come up on the weekends, a very regimented, strict lifestyle. She would often be away for up to 18 months overseas doing God's work. So when she was turned up, it was really hyped. This, it's going to be fantastic. The the schedule I spoke about earlier would be broken a bit. You know, she'd take us. Presents would come. It would be exciting. All of that sort of stuff. Yet at the same time, we would ask, is she in a good mood or a bad mood? Because if she's in a bad mood, all hell broke loose. She was the person who came up with all the rules that she signed her name to in a rule book. Anne Hamilton Byrne, I can still envisage a signature to this day. There was like a death warrant, well, not a death warrant, I've exaggerated that, but you know, the rules that caused us to be dunked, that caused us to be beaten and missed out on meals, we put in cold showers, the very one she signed. There were times where she was very angry with us and, you know, would beat us. Stiletto heeled shoes she'd use, as well as a flat leather slipper. You know, she would set one of us against another, and had complete control over our life. And we lived in fear of her. There was this week where she had spent the time with us up there. She had the cold, flu, whatever it was installed in a room, and it was a week of terror. We were delighted when she finally went back down, hauled up in front of her, lines handed out, told you'd done things you knew you hadn't done. I mean, we lived in terror of her as well. So great fear, mixed in with love. I mean, she got just the right mix. I think that's often with a leader that is not a servant leader, of fear. You know, there's many ways of ruling, of authority that tends to happen with any community. As soon as you have a community and you go in, I mean, I'm a project manager at IBM, and they train you with the idea of forming, storming, norming, of, you know, and performing are the 4 phases of a group being brought together. And you as a leader have to understand that. Naturally, you're going to get a leader. And with being a leader comes responsibility. And a lot of leaders of communities, if they're not servant leaders, very quickly, and a lot of them are narcissistic, they have their own issues, psychopaths, sociopaths. You know, it's a heady mix when people hang off your every word. Very dangerous. You start adding money into that, and you can have a very dangerous environment where you're controlling people. So I had a deep desire to please this woman. I knew at the drop of a hat she could destroy my life, and she had a campaign, you know, on me to break me, which she did a very good job of around the age of 10 to 12, where she picked on me for showing off all the time, and I just was hammered constantly over this, of just wanting to win. I'd like running, you know, I'd try and become first with everything I did when it came to sports, and just been hammered for showing off on that and stuff. So I knew she was boss. So when we got pulled out of the cult, I remember within, you know, what would it have been? The police came, there was 100 of them on there, concerned that we'd be ferreted away. They're leading us up the stairs. It was out into the world. And I remember holding on at the top of those balustrades as the police were leading me out, not wanting to leave, because I guess my whole life I was about to head overseas. This world that I was fearful of, I'm about to be taken into it, and I'm not in control of it. It didn't take me long. Within about 30 seconds, I sort of let go. I'm led to the bus that we were driven away, and as but within 5 minutes of being driven away, I remember saying, a chapter of a book has just finished and I'm turning a page and a new one's about to be written. I remember actually saying this, you know, and that proved to be true. By that night, I'm lying in bed. I'm at the Allambie Reception Centre over in Elwood. Those in Melbourne would have known that. I think near up on Elgar Road and Whitehorse Road. I think Victorian University's there now. So I'm lying in bed in the Allambie Reception Centre, Banksia unit, on a bunk bed, never been on one before, new set of pajamas. I just eaten dinner, had sweets, able to wash the dishes, excited I was able to be in the kitchen, and, you know, told it wouldn't last long, and it didn't last long. Having to, as I'm doing, feel that I could actually wash the dishes. Now I argue over who has to empty the dishwashing machine. I'm normal, like everyone, but, you know, I got my own toothbrush, and I'm lying there checking through everything I'd said that day. Which was standard practice, because if you said the wrong thing to a stranger, you got punished. And I remember having this cathartic moment going, hang on a second here, I don't have to do this anymore. I'm free.
Yeah.
And through that day, we've been told by the girls that had gone to the police, that had facilitated this, that I'd grown up with, that had all been given LSD, had done everything they could to overcome their fear of the police and realize that they had to go to them and write these statements so the police would rescue us. And, you know, I'm so grateful that they overcame their fear and they rescued me, because I was vexed from having to go through LSD as a 15-year-old. And they had told us through the day that Anne was fake, that they had seen the fake passports, the fake stuff on her, that she wasn't who she said she was. And as I said, by that evening, I'm able to process life and go, you know what? I'm out of here. She's fake. I'm happy. And from that point forward, Anne Hamilton Byrne never really held a huge sway over me as far as I wanted her as a mother or a teacher. There were spiritual connections, undoubtedly, and trafficked in the occult. And it took me years, once I became a born-again Christian and was able to exercise the spiritual authority that Christ gives us and able to break those curses she placed on me. That was really the only real connection that she had. But as far as a mother, a teacher, a guru, I was able to dump that very, very quickly. And I'm grateful to that. It's been
That's
good.
really good. So when you're in that situation, do you think it was did you see her as Jesus Christ, or do you think it was more of a fear thing, the way you've been talking about? Do you think it was a fear of that, or
Yeah, and I really hadn't bought into the full spiritual side of her. I hadn't been initiated. I hadn't really gone there. My experience, it was more for me just fear. It was Anne. I remember a point of time where she asked us all. So I grew up with Hatha Yoga meditation. And meditation, in essence, what it is a clearing of the mind, all stuff, and you're looking at, people would say, centering yourself. What in essence you're doing is you're removing all the distractions, all the thoughts, dialing into whatever's out there. People would say you need to be awakened from within. You're focusing on yourself, focus on a blue light, whatever. But in essence, what you're doing is you're dialing into what's out there and opening yourself up to the supernatural. Transcendental Meditation, you'll speak. I remember reading a book called The Death of a Guru, who spoke about people that had been on the drug run from Pakistan into Afghanistan on hash, LSD, heroin, whatever else. The experiences they had were exactly the same as he had when he was meditating. So Anne dialed into this with the use of LSD and other stuff. And I remember her one day asking us all to focus on her, to meditate. And I felt as if I'd fallen, blanked my mind out, and as if I drifted off to sleep. So my head sort of dipped like this. And in my mind, I felt as if someone had slapped me across the back of the head. I jolted awake, and Anne yelled out, "Ben, how dare you shut me out of your mind?" It was like, oh, that's a bit different. So here she is attempting through the use of the occult meditation to directly connect in and control. Would have been within a year. I remember sitting at the dinner table, she's standing over me, grabs my chin, forces my head up, looking directly into my eyes, and held my gaze for about a minute, and then let me go and moved on. And after that experience, whenever we got into trouble, I'd get this incredible feeling of depression, suicidal, fear, palpitation, and just this kaleidoscope of emotions, like this black dog of depression. This metal blanket would fall over me, come from nowhere, hit me. The only thing that would lift it off was if I'd actually go and tell on those that had misbehaved, and then it was like the feeling would leave me.
Or something.
Yeah, and you would look at that going, precisely,
yeah.
and I thought nothing of it. Okay, I just thought, listen, that's the way I'm wired, the way it is. Well, I get out of the cult, I become, as I said, fear ruling. Everyone would go, that's just, of course you'd react that way. You spoke of earlier about getting into trouble and telling on people and trying to stop that. The punishment was horrible. But there was a supernatural side to this, and it's documented that Anne Hamilton Byrne, very early on when she became part of meditation, you can read a book by Chris Johnson and Rosie Jones called The Family. And they document when Anne started Hatha Yoga, she connected with a lady, and I've forgotten the name, Bergenstein or something, that used to do Hatha Yoga in Tuak that Anne connected with. At one point, there was one of these young men that annoyed Anne, and she muttered, "He won't be turning up next day. He's going to get very ill." Well, that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
And that people at that were like, "Whoa, this is a bit different."
Mm-hmm.
And this woman divorced herself from Anne. Now, Anne was trafficking in the supernatural, big time in the demonic. And it is also documented that Anne would take people's names, she would put them into blocks in water, freeze them in the ice, in the freezer, and you're in her bad books. And things would happen to people. She would control people. So I get eventually taken out of the cult, lived with this horrible feeling, become a born again Christian, serving Jesus Christ, understand that greater is the power within me than that of this world. Jesus said, all power, dominion, and authority. You will have power over scorpions, over demons, over every force that there is. I delegate that to you. So suddenly this feeling comes on me. I'm like, where'd this come from? I haven't misbehaved. I haven't done anything wrong. Why where's this from? And I began to, the Bible speaks of desire, the gifts of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. One of those is a gift of discernment of spirits. And I was able to dial into this. My mind went back to that situation where Anne cursed me, spirit of depression, of suicide, of fear. And I bound those in the name of Jesus. I commanded these demons to leave me. Get out of here. I'm casting you out of my life. Leave the room, as it were. And this left me. And my flatmate, who happened to be a born-again Christian, eventually became my brother-in-law. So I told him, this is the curse that'll happen if you get this. This is what goes on. He woke up 12 o'clock that night, same feeling. He told me the following morning, remember what I'd said, prayed against it, left. And then the next time I felt this, I eventually, age 20, got married. Young, dumb, and broke, as they say, as the song goes. But happened to get retreads on a car that I had. Should have spent the money and got the full thing. Headed down the Adelaide Hills, crashed the car on a stinking wet night. Same feeling came on, and my dear bride said to me, "Listen, we're here to enjoy ourselves. That black dog of depression. I'm not doing a week with that. Obviously felt horrible what had happened, all of that sort of stuff. So she said, why don't we sing, put on the garment of praise to the Spirit of heaven? As an actual scripture comes directly out of Isaiah. Put on the garment of praise to the Spirit of heaviness, lift up your voice with God, praise with the Spirit and with understanding, magnify the Lord. And Jesus spoke of that. He says, I come to bind up the brokenhearted, set the captive free, proclaim acceptably the Lord. And we, as I began to do that, just this lifted off me, and I've never had that experience again. So I joined the dots and point back to Anne, trafficked in the occult, used LSD to give people these supernatural experiences, used it to control and manipulate people, lay curses on people. And I guess I never saw her as the reincarnation of Jesus, but I definitely lived in fear of her. And it was spiritual, it was supernatural. And as I said, as a born again Christian, I was able to get victory over that. But we've over in the West, I guess we struggle with the concept of that there is a supernatural realm. You head over to India, head over to Africa, you head over to Asia and many parts of the world, and people have a file for this. They very much get that there is a curses laid. Even speak to Aboriginals, First Nation people, and you begin to speak about witch doctors and about pointing the bone and about spirits, and they have a file for this and living in fear and dial into there's a supernatural world out there. So, and trafficked in this and use that to control many a cult member.
So, sorry, Smith. So how did you feel when she passed? Like, what were your feelings when you found out that she's passed, if you don't mind?
Okay. No, absolutely. Go there. And that question's been asked me before. It was a mixture of emotions. My immediate one, so and I have to back up a bit here. Now, excuse me while I answer this a bit longer. So eventually connected with my mum. Would have been probably about 16 years ago. My mum had come back to Australia. She lived overseas. Connected with her. She went to see her mum, my grandmother. She'd normally stay back in the sect property up in the Linda, in the Dandenongs. and she'd come down and visit her mum, my grandmother. And we happened to catch, that's the first time I saw her, as I said, 16 years ago. And we began to build this relationship, whatever. So come 2012, so we're talking now, what is it, 8, 9 years ago, she decided to actually spend a couple of weeks with me. And we went on holidays, happened to actually go back up to Lake Eildon, just to see it with my kids, and chat with her and whatever else. But she wanted to go and see Anne. And I was happy to facilitate that. And I was curious. So we looked her up in the old people's home where Anne had quite advanced dementia. And I was curious to see her. Basically, I knew she had dementia. I knew she was probably beyond being cognizant of who I was and beyond, being able to register what had happened. And by that stage, as I said, I'd already broken any ties I'd had with her. She had really no control over it. I was just interested to what it was. So at that stage, Anne didn't really recognize me. She knew who Joy was, my mum. And it was quite a surreal experience. And I'm looking through this photo album, which had photos of my childhood and the people I'd grown up with. And Anne sort of, had just woken up, looked across and said, "You can have that." And I knew she didn't want, she just wasn't cognizant, left it there and stuff, whatever else. And it was quite a journey. I write about that at length in the book I've written. But yeah, moving on with that one, that to me was just shutting the door. It was like, yep, I know this is gone. So in essence, from that moment up until she died, I'd often said, I'm just waiting for her to drop off the perch. Would she just help us all and just do the done thing and die? So when the day actually happened, and I got a phone call from one of the ladies who'd been in the cult, confirming that Anne actually had died, and the very song that went through my head, "She's dead, the wicked witch is dead." Straight out of out of that play and stuff. Yes, Wizard of Oz and stuff. So that was the feeling of she's gone, the level of control that she has. And then as I began to process and think through this further, a sense of relief, a sense of aware that some of the people I'd grown up with, others that were maybe not directly in that property during that phase of time, but had had their lives destroyed by Anne, that would be a day that would bring it home for them. They would be processing it. Some of it would be very difficult for them. They'd really struggle. So I guess I began to think through the damage of what she'd done, I guess some element of great empathy and concern for some of them. So I reached out to those that obviously were open to that. I went and wrote a blog, the unauthorized biography, which I've put onto my website, Rescue the Family. I guess a sense of me pulling together what I thought, what I felt, and it's quite lengthy. I probably should have broken it down into a couple of blogs, but it's sort of what I was thinking and processing of it all, a bit of history, who she was, what she was, and then I put another one up there about justice. Was justice served? Because that, Anne did a lot of evil. She broke a lot of laws, and this becomes the problem with people that believe in ideology. It excuses or it justifies behavior. And we look at, and I'm going to go there with a couple of things. So you say, for example, look at the rabid vegans that feel completely justified to go there with the exit rebellion, and demand that they break traffic up, stop lives, people that are eating in restaurants, meat, they think they have the right to go in there and disrupt that, and they must change their behavior. And they believe that their behavior is justified based upon an ideology that humans are evil and animals are like humans and we have no right to do whatever. They completely believe that is valid. Others would believe that humans in this world are destroying it, and where the greatest threat there is, and we actually need to kill a couple of 100 million of us for this world to survive. Therefore, abortion is completely acceptable. And they completely justify it, completely valid. Human life is not actually that important. We are a blight on society. So what you believe matters. And so it can be very, very dangerous with all of this, your belief system of what you believe, and it then justifies behavior. And some of that behavior, according to the laws of the land, can be evil and is evil. And the greatest threat we have is when you have a government that starts changing laws, turning that which actually damages children, damages families, damages society, damages people, and passes that as a good law. And those that are trying to protect them are evil. That which is good is treated as evil, that which is evil is treated as good. And you have, that's why I say every culture, the community's underlying legal tenets, that's cult. Cultures, URES, is a universal response to eternal salvation. So a culture that understands that we're inherently left to ourselves, we are sexually perverse, we are savages that do evil things to one another, unless we hold ourselves in check and say no to ourselves and understand that if we live by our appetites and our passions, our driving primal nature of what we want to do, if left unleashed, societies are not a pretty place. And when you unleash that and then you entrench laws that support that premise that you can do what you want, when you want, and how you want, and no one can tell you otherwise, and if anyone does, they're a criminal. And you're born with any appetite and every appetite, you can end up with some very dark places and great destruction to be happened. So it can be a very unhealthy thing. So the cult began to do, and in it, criminal behavior, and very dangerous things can happen. This becomes the problem when you have a community of belief, whether it's political, whether it's spiritual, whether it's a gang of any type, that enforces and has laws and has rules that are dangerous for the individuals in there, and yet they enforce those. God help us. And that's why I say the moral code, morals are downstream of culture, or upstream of culture, which is upstream of politics, which is upstream of society, as it were. You be very careful what you hold to be true and what you don't, and what you believe and what you allow. And so when you have communities like the family that has its own set of rules that they believe they're above the law, and they set their own, which is codified and enforced, you produce an outcome. And that's why people look into this going, how did it happen? What was there? Well, the society of where it was at the moment was in great upheaval, just like the current one we're in. People disconnected from the culture, from the law, from those that are in authority, didn't believe the bill of goods they were selling them. And then they began to form their own communities, their own groups, their own truth, their own reality, their own bubble, as it were, their own things. And you can end up with some organs there, some pretty dangerous stuff where you're not held accountable. And the people in that are leaders are not held accountable. They will order themselves. And you'll find it fascinating how many leaders, and I when I say cult leaders, once again, I'm broadening it out past spiritual into, in general, people in power, how many of them use that power to gratify their own appetites in money, in sex, in power, in wealth. Whether it's a lawyer, whether it's a politician, whether it's a leader of a community of faith, can be any position of power. When you've got people hanging off your every word, you've got number, noise, and nickels. More people throw themselves to their destruction from the pinnacle of success, where people hang off their every word and they've got some money and they've got a group of people looking to them for answers, than people that are on struggle street trying to just make life work.
Well, I don't know where the time's gone, man, because we could be talking for hours, man. But like, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, we
like,
really appreciate
it.
I think we're going to end it there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking maybe even when your book comes out,
Yeah.
maybe we'll have a read, and maybe we could have another chat about it then.
And what was your blog? Do you want to tell us about that real quick? Just give it a plug. So just go check it out.
Okay. Sure. So just www.rescuethefamily.com, and in there's a blog section, and there's just some different stuff. I don't put a lot up there. I'm just mindful of stuff, but yeah, they can find the stuff I spoke of, and I'll keep an update on the book. So I've written a chapter of the book that's very much changed, but it gives people a bit of a view in. Welcome to go have a bit of a read, get some bit of an insight and stuff, and a bit about myself. So once the book's out and ready, it'll be on there as well, and I'll probably engage more on podcasts as well. So guys, I have to say thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks for coming on, man. No, it was such a good talk.
Great chance to connect with people in general, the community, and I appreciate those that take the time to listen as well. to tell my story and stuff. So thanks, guys. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, man.
Really appreciate
We'll put a
that.
link in our bio and all that so people can go check that out. All right.
Good
Thank
on
you,
you,
heaps.
guys. Have a good one. Appreciate
Right,
everything.
cheers, buddy.
Bye for now.
Yo.
All right, we did it. Thanks. We want to thank Ben though.
Yeah.
Like honestly, that was such like a deep, dark story. I mean, the chat was going a bit ham on him, but I mean,
think it's all
the
in good fun.
internet.
Yeah, it's the internet. We
Like,
can't help that.
What can you do? But yeah, we definitely want to thank him, like, for taking the time to, you know, tell us his story. It was, you know,
Yeah.
fucked.
But, you know, all right, so let's stretch our legs because that was a long interview. We've got a man in the chat that everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, we want to hear from the people's champ,
We want to hear from the people's champ,
the Phantom Truckie.
the Phantom Truckie. Give us a call.
But yes, we
Okay.
we'll come back.
We'll
in.
come back
I mean,
for another interview. We've got one more interview, so not as long as that. But
yeah,
he actually rips into us. So
figure out the volume on that one.
Dead End DVD donated $5
thank you, Dead End
Next
DVD.
person to donate gets a copy of Return to Horror High on
On what?
Blu-ray starring the young George Clooney X.
Oh,
that's
there we
it.
go.
Someone come in.
A
We've got
giveaway.
A giveaway. Dead End DVD. We had this movie in the background. I don't know if you could see it. This is from Dead End DVD. This is this one is called Woman's Flesh, My Red Guts, right? And this is, you know, it was a movie, is what we could say. But yeah,
Very, very fucked up.
very fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's there. You can come get it if you if you want. But Dead End DVD, the official sponsor of not the UFC, the official sponsor of the Couch Cowards. All right, so we're just waiting for the truckie to. He's probably pulling over, safe on the side of the road. Just yeah, because he's streaming us on his iPad or something in the cabin. So let's hear from him.
Yes, give us a call.
Give us a call.
What was his name again?
The Phantom Truckie.
The Phantom Truckie. Hell yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we've got another interview after this with a copper, and then we're going to open up the phones. We've actually got another guy that's going to ring up. He's got some a sex pest kind of call. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe that.
but
That
he's
next
got-
one.
yeah. We got rid of the strobe light too in the background.
Yeah, we don't want to trigger anyone.
Yeah.
We just couldn't figure out how to get like a static light going. So
Oh, here we go.
all right.
How do I answer it? Hello, this is Couch Coward. You're on the couch with Billy and Smears. What's going on?
Yeah, you bloody rippers, it's the Phantom Truckie. How are you?
No! Listen to him, boys. He's here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We got it.
Yeah, this bloody stepdaughter got me onto this last week, episode 1, and it was a bloody ripper.
Good
hell
work,
yeah,
mate. Thank you so much. All right, so,
What stories have you got for us?
give us a story.
Oh, mate, I've got one every week. If you do 100 episodes, I've probably got 100 for you.
Well, how about maybe even next week where I gives us time to tee up
Yeah.
some more interviews. Maybe next week you could be our guest.
Yeah, you can be our guest. We might.
I mean, it depends how this one goes. What do you got for us?
All right, I'll tell you this one story. Now, us truck drivers, sometimes we don't sleep for days, you know what I mean? We're just driving.
Mm-hmm.
You drop your load off, you get another one, and you got to get back in time.
Bloody
Got to see
hell,
the
yeah.
family, spend some time with them, you know what I mean? And some of these truck stops, I mean, they're raggedy old places. You have never seen anything worse in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've gone into this one truck stop,
Uh-huh.
like a bloody ghost town in there. I've gone into the toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what was in there.
And I've gone in there, then I've noticed there isn't even bloody toilet roll in there. There's not even a toilet roll holder.
Yeah.
So,
It's COVID time.
so yeah, here I am, just doing me business.
Yeah.
I noticed there wasn't a toilet roll holder. There was a bloody glory hole. Yeah,
Was there something poking out of it? What's going on?
It gets even worse.
All right, go
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this penis comes through the glory hole.
on. Yeah.
So I'm giving it a big fucking left-handed uppercut right in the banjo string. right in the banjo string, but my hand's gone right through it. The thing was a bloody ghost. I'll tell you that much.
That's fucked.
Some weird things happen here. Those fucked up, I'll tell you that much. I got up, didn't even wipe me butt, just pulled me fucking Levi's up, and then I noticed there was nobody there. I was by myself.
Fucking
Oh
hell.
man. Well,
Ghost cock.
Ghost cocks. Well, that was a good one.
There's been some strange ones, I'm telling you. This is only the beginning of what I've got for you.
Thank you.
Yes, we want you to be a regular,
Yeah, we want you
please.
to be a regular.
Oh, mate, 7 o'clock Sunday, I'm in. I'm in every day.
Thank you so
Fuck
much.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, boys. Thank you to all the just rippers in the chat.
Bloody hell.
Having a blast with you. I'll stay in and be here every Sunday.
Oh, you're a legend.
Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you for having me, lads.
Cheers,
have a good
mate.
one, bud. Drive safe.
Have a good one, boys.
Drive safe.
Oh, well, I'm in for the night, but you know, I'm all right. Just get a snooze and I'm back out on the road. It's the truck life, mate.
Yeah, that's the drunk life.
We also had a comment for you. Oh, God.
What is that? What's the comment?
I gotta try and talk over this. No, not that one. It said,
Vegans Rule donated
one
10
sec.
Australian dollars.
it said,
Oh,
wow. Sorry about that.
What's going on here?
Yes.
Another donation.
But it's the question was, did it spray spooky ectoplasm on you?
No, I just literally threw the left hand up and, you know,
Yeah.
bit of a fighter in my day, I tell you what. So, yeah, and it's just literally going straight through, and I was just baffled. Fucking probably kick myself even more. But yeah, and then then it was gone.
God.
I realised I was the only one there, and
Yeah.
hey, it was
Okay.
a spooky one though.
I can imagine. Yeah, it's a hard day on the roads, I bet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Hey, when you don't get much sleep, mate, you get a bit jumpy, and when that thing come through the hole, I'll tell you what, I was a bit jumpy.
Oh, fucking hell.
All right. Well,
thank
thank
you so
much. Call in next Sunday, and we'll have another chat.
Yeah, we'll do, boys.
All right.
Cheers,
Have a good
mate.
one, you rippers.
Yeah,
You too,
that's
mate.
it. We'll do
Bloody hell.
the truck one for you. All right.
Oh, you rippers.
See you, mate.
See ya.
Oh, that was too good.
Oh,
that
that
was
was
way
good.
better than I expected.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Well, so what we're going to do, we're going to put the next interview up with your man, my man, Lex De
Man.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So this guy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
More Chile donated 2 Australian dollars. Anyone else want the Phantom to banjo punch them? Or just me?
I kind of want him to do that to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Oh, well, so we've got this next interview up. Lex De Man. If you listen to the very start, we did a fan service. Just watch it and then let us know what you think. All right.
How are we?
Hey, all
Yeah, we're
good. How
great.
you
How are
going,
you?
Lex?
So which one's Jesse?
I'm Jesse,
Right.
God,
and this is Billy.
Jesus.
That's right.
I'm not quite sure if you two blokes are with it, are you? Great.
All right. Well, this seems like it's going to be way more,
All right, there we go.
more fun than anticipated. That's for sure.
Oh, mate, this is
Oh, there
great.
you go.
No, well,
Well, hopefully my computer doesn't conk out, so
No, I'm
we'll be
right.
right.
We'll be
that
right.
seems so good.
We'll make it work.
sort it
I
out.
thought I just had the casual t-shirt look.
Mate,
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
nice. I was wearing a t-shirt before. It actually had a it's like a cult themed shirt, and then for the Ben interview, I was
yeah.
like, maybe I'll change my shirt.
Yeah.
Probably a smart idea.
Yeah, I reckon so.
All
That's
right.
all right, though.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it looks good and it sounds good. But
Are you guys getting that flashing as I'm getting as well?
Yeah, I think that's on your end.
it's on your end.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it
Oh.
flash off your glasses.
All right. Oh, Jesus. Maybe if I take them off, it's I can't see you.
No, it's still getting
No.
flashed, just like a speed camera in
Is
your
that-
computer.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
No,
Yeah,
it's good. It's
That's
good
great.
for us.
We'll roll with it.
It's almost
annoying
like
you,
you're at a rave.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
We'll put
All
an
right, must be
epilepsy
the
warning at the
audio.
start. We'll be all right.
Okay, so how do you want to do this?
Well, we just want to just, I guess, start off by asking you if you could maybe just tell us a bit about yourself.
Yep. So when do you want to start?
Well, I mean, maybe your police career. Like, how did you get into that?
Yeah.
What?
So you're going to start recording, are you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going now. Like,
going,
we're
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
relaxed. Like,
Yeah,
we're not like a business type. We're just, yeah.
Well, I hope you're not going to show what I've just said.
No. We'll keep that to ourselves. All right. So,
A bit about myself. So, look, I'm currently the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Victoria Police Legacy. But before this job, I've been here 5 years. I was 20 years with the Country Fire Authority of Victoria as an executive. And before that, I was 18 years with Victoria Police, starting my policing career off at the tender age of 17 when I joined as a police cadet and graduated from the Recruit Academy in December 1978, all those years ago.
Yeah, wow.
man.
Yeah, I know you guys weren't even thought of. But anyway,
No.
I'm a well-seasoned person. I don't say old. I'm a well-seasoned, experienced
That's it.
person.
That's it.
It's a good description.
Sorry, bud. Yeah, go.
No, you guys go. It's your show.
So let's get straight into it. So when was the first time you heard about this cult going on?
Well, I first actually heard of the cult in December 1987 when, as a 27-year-old arson detective, so you can work my age out, I went to a school fire at Monbulk Primary School. Myself and my officer were the on-call crew for the night, and we were called there early in the morning. And there was a school classroom that had been burnt down. And so when you have a school fire, you look at where the fire starts, and it started in a school room. So obviously it might have something to do with that room. So in speaking with the local police at that stage, they were saying that one of the children had a fascination with the school teacher. And then they told me about this child school child who was a member of this cult called the Family.
So it was all out there. Sorry. So it was all out there, like you said, cult. So the other people knew about it before you even.
It had been in the Melbourne media apparently for many, many years and so forth. And look, I hadn't taken much notice of it and so forth, but that was really the first time I really got to understand what this cult, the Family, was about. And I was told this incredible story about, the cult members believe that the leader of the cult, Anne Hamilton Byrne, is Jesus Christ reincarnated in the female form. And of course, when I was getting told these things initially, I thought, boy, these people are strange.
Yeah.
Like, these people telling me this story. Anyway, then I met the local police doctor for that district who had been involved in the initial raids that had occurred in 1987, in the August of 87, so a few months before the school fire, up at a house on Taylor Bay Road in Eildon, where a whole group of children who had their hair peroxide and so forth had been removed by federal authorities, Victoria Police, Community Policing Squad members during a raid. And
Right, so they were already aware, and they were already removing people from the.
Yeah, well, they prior to me coming along.
Yeah, right.
There had been some concerns raised, and unbeknownst to me, local district police from Blackburn Community Policing Squad with federal police and Department of Human Services had conducted a raid and removed the children and placed them into state care for that at that time. And I got to know one of the children reasonably early as part of the investigation of the fire. And I remember the first time the police doctor said to me, "You're not going to believe this story, and don't get involved, because if you get involved, this will be with you for the rest of your life." And here we are in 2021, and I'm still talking about it,
Yeah, right.
and still talking with a number of the survivors and so forth. And so it's one of those jobs as a police officer. It's not an 8 to 4 or a 9 to 5 job. This one has stuck with me for my life, actually. And
No doubt.
so I came to know about the fire. I got to know a little bit about the cult. And we took about 3 months to investigate the fire. And at the end of the 3 months, my boss at the time said to me, because I was a bit interested in what was going on with this cult, and I spoke to the local police about it, and nothing was actually happening. The local police were having problems trying to get some form of investigation going, or trying to get to the bottom of this cult and so forth. Some horrendous stories that I heard, and the way that the children had been treated. That I had an opportunity presented to me in June 1989 to do a report into my thoughts on the cult. And between 87 and 89, I'd kept a very strong interest in speaking with local police and just looking a bit further into it. But Victoria Police and other authorities in those days was completely different than what it is today. So I put a report in. In my report, I mentioned a couple of things. I mentioned the allegation of child stealing, the allegation of administration of LSD drugs to children, and the theft of children from hospitals. So basically, when that official report landed into the police department, something had to be done because there was this report.
Yeah.
So I remember receiving a call late 1989 from the Chief Inspector of the Drug Squad saying, "I've got this report. I've got to do something with it. So I want you to be part of the task force that I'm going to put together. You can be the detective sergeant.
Wow.
We'll have a detective senior sergeant and 4 detectives." I said, "Yep, great." So that was something which, I'd strove for.
Yeah, you were interested in. Yeah.
And he said to me, "You've got 12 weeks. 12 weeks to do it." And I remember walking into early December 1989, walking into a room at the old Russell Street Police Headquarters, and here was 4 detectives I'd never met. I'd never met the senior sergeant. We didn't have one typewriter. We didn't have one filing cabinet. We didn't have a car. We had nothing. And we had 12 weeks to investigate it. And I was very fortunate we had a fantastic senior sergeant at that time, who was then the senior investigator, Peter Spence, who got the task force up and running, and I was a sub-charge. And subsequently, at the end of the inquiry, the task force, which was in 1994, I was the only one of the originals that were left, and I was the senior investigator. At that stage, I was acting senior sergeant then, having brought Anne and her husband, William Hamilton Byrne, with 3 other police members back from the United States on charges of perjury.
So at the time, like, the thought of a cult even being a thing in Australia, was that like in the ethos? Like, you say cults now and everybody knows what you're talking about, but like back then was like what a cult is, was that common knowledge? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
no, look, there'd been a little bit of talk in the press about this cult and so forth, but nothing had ever gone on. And you've got to understand that in the 60s and 70s, even into the 80s, Victoria was a different place. And we believed people in authority. If you're a bank manager, or if you're a doctor, or if you're a nurse, we would believe everything you said. And Anne Hamilton Byrne was so devious, that she had people believe that she was Jesus Christ reincarnated, and she had amassed a whole following of professionals in Victoria. And she came to create the cult, the family, having met Victoria's top academic, who was the Master of Queen's College, who was an import from Britain, Dr. Rayner Johnson, who was a physicist. And he actually worked on the nuclear program during World War II. And Rayner, dear old Rayner, I shouldn't say that, but Rayner, who I also despise, who is long since passed, when he first saw Anne at Melbourne University, he straight away believed that he had seen the Messiah, Jesus Christ,
Do you
in the
think it was
female
her
form.
looks?
And
Like, do you think?
I think it was some people in life have charisma. When they walk into a room, everybody knows the person's in the room. And I suppose Anne was like that when talking with many, many, many people about that. She had that charisma and she had that deviousness as well. And Raina Johnson at the time was looking into how Eastern mythology and Christianity came together and so forth. He believed that Anne was the Messiah, Jesus Christ reincarnated in a female form. She then got to know a number of professionals through Raina Johnson, and then she got to know the owner and operator of New Haven Private Psychiatric Hospital in Normandy Road, Kew. And through that, in those days, of course, it's not like today where we openly talk about mental health and mental health issues. In those days, if you're a judge, a lawyer, a doctor, a solicitor, a nurse, a social worker, people in high parts of society, you then, and you had a psychiatric or mental health issues through the loss of a loved one, loss of a child or so forth, you would go to a private clinic to be treated so that nobody knew. And so, Anne, they would be referred by their doctors to New Haven, and two of the doctors at New Haven, psychiatrists, who were then legally licensed to use LSD as a drug for treating mental illness. So
And they
Dr.
were
John
getting it from
McKay.
the original source too, weren't they?
Sorry?
They were getting the LSD from the original source, like the creator.
They were getting the LSD was getting provided to them legally, because at that stage the trial of LSD was approved by the government for a very select number of psychiatrists. And so, a professional would go into New Haven on their first or second night. They'd be lying in their bed at night. The door would open. There would be this mystic figure in the doorway in a white flowing gown, with smoke coming up from behind the white flowing gown, which in actual fact was dry ice in a bucket. And they would come out of their trance, thinking that they had actually seen Jesus Christ. They would then see Anne, and there they were. But you've got to understand, to us it sounds crazy, but to people suffering mental health issues, that's what happened. And many of the cult members who I see as survivors, innocent survivors, and there are many of the former members who I have no sympathy for whatsoever. And, the day Anne Hamilton Byrne died was probably the best, happiest day of my life. And I said that openly in the media.
So what was your...
And, I waited 3 days. She never came back.
No, yeah, good. Yeah. Yo, that proves her wrong, eh? So what was your first encounter with her? Like, when was the first time?
The first time I saw Anne personally was just over 4 years into the investigation, when a black van rolled up onto the roadway of the airport in New York, JFK Airport in New York, and this big black Mariah bus thing arrived, and a number of US Marshals got out of the van, and they slid open the side door, and there she was, just, you would think was a small little diminutive old lady with this old man who was her husband Bill. And if you saw her and you didn't know her background, you would have taken sympathy on her and said, "Oh, you poor old thing." Yeah. Far from it. So that was when I first saw Anne, and when we brought her back to Australia from the United States, and I had a detective inspector with me. I had a tremendous female detective, Laurel Taylor, and I had Dr. Fiona Jaffe, who was a police doctor. And the reason we had a police doctor was during the extradition proceedings between Melbourne and New York. Because you got to remember, there was no such thing as the World Wide Web in those days. We used things called fax machines, and And we received a fax at one stage to say Anne's ill. She says she's got heart problems and therefore we might not get her extradited. So I just said back to the American authorities, we'll bring a doctor. Simple as that. And we'll have a doctor accompany her back. So that was accepted by the US courts, and we had a very good district attorney in New York. And hence, so that was the first time I saw Anne. We brought her back. Her first words to me were, I said to her, I never forget this, Anne Hamilton Byrne, my name is Lex De Man. I'm from Victoria Police in Australia. You're under arrest. And here is a copy of the warrant. Formally gave her my copy. And she looked at me and she said, Mr. De Man, you look a lot younger than what I thought you would be. The only other words she said to me was either thank you for handing her tray while she was on the plane, or no comment when we interviewed her for the interview. So it was the only words she's ever spoken to me.
Wow. So it was, do you think that justice was served?
No. And you know, it's a very difficult, there are a number of factors. You know, we charged her back in 89 when the task force started. A journalist said to me at one stage, you'll never find her. If you find her, you'll never charge her. If you charge her, you'll never get her back here. And if you get her back here, you'll never get a guilty plea and conviction. So that was a bit of a challenge. That was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
So, and that was said as a challenge. So we found her, we arrested her, we brought her back. She said the words guilty. I didn't. We didn't. She said the words guilty, and then she was given the sultry monetary penalty of, you know, $5,000 for perjury. And you know, and that's all that we could proceed on. And I was also very conscious at the time that placing the former children, the survivors, before a court of law for very rigorous examination, cross-examination, had to balance up what harm that might have done to the outcome of a conviction. So, you know, when people asked me, was justice done? Justice was not done. Justice was not done to the former children, the survivors, and to many other members of the cult who, in themselves, were victims, but many of them were actually also perpetrators who I have no sympathy for.
Yeah. So with sympathy, though, do you have any sympathy for any of the members, like the aunties and all that? You have no sympathy for them at all, or?
It's a bit of a divided thing. You know, the aunties up at Eildon were horrific. I spoke at length with one in the United Kingdom when we went. Myself and a female detective, Helen Savage, went to the UK for 3 months to interview one of the aunties who said, I'll give you a statement, because she was well out of the cult, but she actually denied many of the allegations and she was never charged. You know, I have sympathy for Anne's former lawyer, Peter Kibby, who was actually the key to the case being blown open, if I can put it that way, where we learned early in 1990 that he had fallen out with Anne and that he had left the cult and that he had moved to a law practice in Camperdown in regional Victoria in the Western District. So we found a document that he had signed that he had perjured himself on. So myself and Peter Spence led this part. We went down and we arrested him one Monday morning at 9 o'clock in his law firm in the little country legal practice in Camperdown, and we arrested him and we brought him out of the building. We walked him up one side of the Camperdown main street, across the street, down the other way into the police station. We then interviewed him. He was charged with perjury. And we said to Peter, if you're prepared to help us, we'll be prepared to help you. So Peter, at the end of the day, was the only person I've ever stood up in the county court and given character evidence before a judge on a criminal. Peter, he had obsessive compulsive disorder. That's how he met Anne. Peter would continually wash himself it would take them 3 hours to have a shower in the morning.
All right.
And at one stage, Anne arranged for a lacotomy through one of the other set members. A lacotomy is brain surgery through the eye.
Oh,
But unfortunately, and Peter just did it, and so that didn't fix Peter. But Peter was Anne's lawyer for many, many years and knew all about the false adoptions, the false births, the property deals that went on, and so forth. And he despised Anne at the end of the day. And I got to know Peter. I interviewed Peter. He turned Queen's evidence, and for 3 months, Monday to Friday, I sat in an interview room with him, and we ended up writing a 365-page handwritten statement from Peter about all his knowledge of the cult.
wow. Do you, in the pursuit of closing the cult, did you ever feel threatened at all?
Look, not really.
No.
You know, there are the odd threats, but you know, I know I've it's funny you say that, because I've investigated some of, in the Arson bomb squad. You know, we one stage investigated Hell's Angels, and there's another story behind that. But you know, as for Anne, you know, I say and I maintain she is the most evil person that I've ever met throughout my policing career. And the lives that she damaged, the theft, the deceit, the humiliation, and there are things that I probably am only aware of because of conversations I've had with a former survivor, that I will never forgive her, and she's evil.
Well, do you think the justice system learnt anything from this? Like,
It did, because prior to Operation Forest happening, there were 27 separate adoption agencies in Victoria, for example. Now I think there's about 3 or 5. So, you know, there was an overhaul of the adoption system. I think also, whether it be forest specific, but over the years since the 70s, or since we started, right through to today, you know, the reporting arrangements, the legal arrangements dealing with children, certainly the way that government departments operate, and also the awareness by members of the community that just because somebody says they're from a government department, don't take it for granted. And if they say one thing, you know, we can query it these days, because previously people didn't. We've also got to understand that in the 60s, only 3% of students from secondary school went to university. So those that graduated from university basically knew each other. It was a very closed club. And that was our professionals in our society. So, you know, society has changed dramatically for the better. In that, you know, more accountability, more concern and protection for children, and so forth. But I always say that we should never let our guards down. You know, I've been asked in the past, could this happen again? Yes, it could happen again. It could happen again if we, the society, the community, take things for granted and we don't query, we don't ask questions. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted the story to be told, and a documentary was done on it in a 3-part ABC series and then a book. It was about making sure that there was awareness in the community that these things, they're not American fancifuls that happen in the deep south of America. This happened on Mount Dandenong, just to the east of metropolitan CBD Melbourne. So, you know, it happened here. And you know, there are still people in the community, a small number, that still believe that Anne was JC or is JC.
Yeah, well, that's actually right around the corner from us.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, we've gone to check it out. I think we're actually going to go there tomorrow and have another little look. But
do you want to escort us there?
Check what out? The lodge, church. Yeah, I'm told recently that the Tibetan monks through the Dalai Lama have now obtained that property, which I am so, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
You know, they are based in Sydney. I believe the administration arm of the Tibetan monks, and to think of what occurred in that building and now they're using it, I think it's despicable. I think it's
You think
absolutely
it should be
despicable.
destroyed and maybe rebuilt?
I think things should be torn down.
Yeah.
Torn down.
Yep.
Should never be used anywhere. Any history of that cult in Victoria needs to be erased, but not forgotten.
Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right.
By that I mean we must never forget that they operated.
Mhm.
We must never forget how bad evil she was, and many of her followers. But that doesn't mean that we have to keep their monuments, if I can put it that way, still standing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right. Well, do you think cults are more common in Australia than people realise?
Look, through this investigation, I'm contacted on a reasonably regular basis about cults and so forth. I suppose it's what your definition of a cult is.
Right.
You know, some people would define religion as a cult. You know, the Catholic Church, the Presbyterian Church, the Anglican Church, the Church of the Seventh Day, the Latter-day Saints, you know, the Mormons and so forth. What your definition of cult is. And in Victoria and in Australia, religion is not illegal, thank God. In other words, we are allowed to have our beliefs, be us Christians, be us, atheists, be us agnostic, be us Muslims, be us Buddhists, be us whatever. But it's about how we ensure that those that are in groups are not doing things of evil.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's.
Well,
I think,
that's pretty much all the questions, man. Like, you've killed it.
Yeah, Lex, you've done a great job,
You've
man.
done a great-
We really appreciate speaking to you.
Like with what you did, and like you unveiled it. Like you unveiled it. You chopped the snake out of its head. You know what I mean? Like it's not a, like, it might not feel like justice, but like you stopped it so it didn't keep happening again. Like we're at that age where that could have been us. Like I'm born in 91. So you know what I mean? Like if she kept going, like if you just, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't,
Well,
it wasn't for nothing. You know what I mean? Like you spent a lot of time.
When you were born, we were already 2 years underway in the investigation. So that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm only too pleased that the interest is still there because it's that awareness that I speak about.
Yeah.
We've got to keep people aware that these types of insidious groups are there. And if we don't look at them, you can look around the world, what's happening around the world in various parts of the world. And I won't get into specific groups, but the community, governments need to be aware of what's going on around them.
Oh, we agree.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for that, Lex.
Yeah.
Like you're a legend.
Yeah.
From the get-go, we all instantly fell in love with you. I thought you're a legend. I did get to watch you at the Q&A in Belgrave in, I believe, 2017, around there.
Yep.
And I was instantly hooked on the case. So I just wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate you doing this chat with us.
Not a problem, guys. Anytime. I hope it goes well for you.
Thank you very much,
man.
All right. Well,
Okay.
all the best, mate. We'll see you
All
soon.
the best. Thank you so much.
Same to you too. See ya.
Bye.
We're back. Sorry about that echo. I think it was because he didn't have a headset on.
That's probably the case. Yeah.
So if you start a cult and he comes and busts it, we'll make sure he has a headset on for the next time. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, this is what the worms love. The phone line's going to be open up. We've got one guy calling in that we know. We've already pre-sorted it, but if you get in first, we'll go from there. So it's open. We're going to put the phone number on the screen.
Oh, we got the spooky.
Oh, we got the spooky music. It is happening. All right.
But yeah, just give us a call.
Give us a call. Put the phone number on the screen, Smiz. I don't know if it's on there.
There we go.
That should be there. Is it there?
We go.
It's
We're
there.
on.
It's
We're
there.
on. But yeah, call us about anything. If you
we need a palate cleanser because that was pretty deep and heavy episode. I think next week we're gonna try to do like aliens and Sasquatch. Like if I really want Sasquatch.
I know.
Like,
we actually emailed the manager for the guy that took the original Bigfoot video.
The Bigfoot photo.
Yeah. He's like an 89-year-old cowboy, and damn, he looks cool. So hopefully that comes through. We'll see what happens.
So we've got one call coming up. Oh, all right. Well, before that, because the calls aren't coming in right now, we're going to play behind the scenes of Smizz getting bogged while the cult was chasing us down. Like they ran out of the bush, they had spears and shit, and they were throwing them at us. And this is what we had to do. So we're gonna do it. Pause the music, please, baby boy.
I got
all right.
I got it. So
here's behind the scenes of us trying to.
we got the call.
Right, we got the call. We got
you
the
know
call.
what? We'll get to that soon.
We'll get to that. Ready?
Yeah, go on.
Hello, you're on the couch with the cowards. What's going on?
G'day, boys. I got a story for you.
Who is this?
This is Llama from Brisbane.
All right. So yeah, we've got some stuff teed up for this. So just let us know what happened to you, bud.
Well, for a while back in August, I was receiving phone calls on the regular from this private number, and at first, like, I'd get a call at about 7:38 when I'm just like relaxing each night. I'd pick up, and nobody was there, so I just assumed it was like a telemarketer. So it was
What? It
like
was just
dead air.
quiet.
Yeah, just dead air, complete dead air. And you
Right.
know how, like, when you call in a telemarketer, it goes like click and then they start talking. So I normally just hang up before that happens.
Yeah.
And so, like, hours pass. I'm just sitting on the couch playing, like, Fall Guys or whatever the hot game was in August. And at about midnight, buzzes again. And I'm like, what the fuck? Who the hell calls at midnight? You know, like, that's not an odd time to call. So, like, I pick it up, get ready to be super abusive down the phone because, like, I don't want phone calls at 12. And it's just dead air again. So I let it go this time. Like, telemarketer, I'll let him answer and just say, fuck off, you know? And it just goes for 20 seconds, just this dead quiet, dead air. So I'm like, that's a bit weird. So hang up, calls again, like almost immediately. Just bounce the call this time. Hour goes by and I get another couple of calls and I'm like, this is kind of like dodgy. And all the people I'm in a party with on PlayStation are like, you're going to die, man. This is a horror movie, like, waiting to happen. So I'm just like, freaking me out. They call again. And this time I answer and I'm just like hurtling abuse down the phone. I'm like, stop fucking calling me, leave me alone, you know, blah, 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 blah. And they just won't respond. I'm like trying to get a rise out of them, just nothing, just this dead quiet air. So I like put my phone in front of like a speaker and I start playing music and they stay on the line for 8 minutes maybe.
Whoa, creepy.
And I'm just like, okay. So I just fed up, hang up, and like it gets to about 3 a.m. like done playing video games, no calls since. Go upstairs, my missus like, what the hell are you doing? It's like 3 a.m. I'm like, I've got a story for you, just hold up. Before you get mad, start telling this story, and then it rings again. So I'm like, I'll prove it, you know, like I put it on speaker, and it's just nothing. It's quiet, just like hang up, just hang up, just hang up, like visibly spooked. And I'm like, I'm not the easiest dude to scare, but I didn't have an explanation. So I go to sleep. Wake up in the morning, I've missed like 4 calls and there's like 3 voicemails. So I've sent you some of the voicemails, but I'll just get through the rest of this verse. Next day, happens again. 7:38, 1 call. Bounce it, and then bombardment of calls after about 12. Just so many. And like getting voicemails, I'm deleting them because they're freaking me out, you know, like you'll hear them. I left 5 voicemails on the same night, and like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I leave it. It goes away after like maybe a couple of days, and then a month later, same time, 7:30, 8 o'clock, don't know what the exact time is, calls again. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me, what is going on? And then 12 o'clock, all these calls come in, couple of voicemails, then it goes quiet till like November maybe. So we're like August, September at first. November comes around, they call one last time and leave this 1 voicemail, and then it stops. And I'm like, freaked out. Maybe like 2 weeks ago, they called again.
So so it's been going on for like 8 months or something.
Still going. Like, this is a while. But like, I think the best part of all of this, like, if you ever try to call me, like, my voicemail is that really annoying Phil Collins song, and it goes for like maybe 40 seconds.
Which one?
Yeah, they're all bangers, man.
Studio by Phil Collins.
That's probably, that's really good. Studio? Alright, so you've sent us...
So that's my voicemail.
Yeah.
You sent us some voicemails.
And they sat through it.
Yeah.
They sat through it every time to leave these.
They're committed. So you've sent us a few voicemails. So how old are these ones? So you've got a list of them. Like...
Yeah, okay. So I sent them to you from the top, so first down, so I can read you some of like the dates on this. So we've got the 4 second ones, the 21st to the 2nd, 24th of the 2nd. Oh, wait, no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. 22nd of the 8th, 22nd of the 8th, 22nd of the 8th. All of these are 22nd of the 8th, and then 23rd of the 8th, 26th of the 9th, and then 8th of the 11th, and then they haven't left any voicemails that I've kept. Because they've just been like 1 second, just dead air, you know?
Yeah, there's a few here. So we're going to...
Some
pause
creepers out there.
that music so
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
get the full clarity of how these guys go. So this is the first one you've sent. Let's see what they say.
So this is like the dead air one.
Yeah, so there's a couple of dead air ones. It's I think the first one's just 2 seconds, and then there's like a 30-second one that sounds like clicking and stuff, and then they start
I
talking.
think that's the one we're on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
breaking in and out. So here's a 3-second one. Yeah, so they had to sit through a whole song for that.
Yeah, a whole song for that. Wait, till you get to some of the talking ones, I can't really hear them over the phone.
Yeah, the talking ones will come. But
Yeah.
I did have a quick listen before this.
Alright, do that one again. Do that one again. Do that one again.
Yeah, that one's a bit fucking sus.
Alright, so we're going to do another one?
Yeah, go for it.
Just like, we'll do it again. I love you. It's just whoever still loves you in this 22 seconds.
Sounds like they're typing and crying. I don't know. Maybe I've listened to them a lot, so I'm like trying to work it out myself.
We'll give it another go. Go halfway.
Okay.
And then this is the last one.
I love you.
So she's got
So you had-
corona then.
Yeah, you had fucking, what is it, Smiggle?
Yeah, you had Schmeagol.
You had
Schmeagol at the end, yeah.
Yeah, golden called on the last one. But
Yeah, I just thought you boys might find that interesting.
No, that's
it's-
awesome,
it
man.
is
Thank
weird.
you.
The fact that they had to sit through a whole song just to do that shit to you is a bit weird. But
Yeah.
It's a bit strange, and that was only like some of them. Like some of them I just didn't feel like sending because they were just like literally just dead air. You'd be listening to nothing, you know. But like that shit just happens all the fucking time. I don't know what to do.
Fucking
So
crazy.
Constantly like
So
locking
obviously you
doors
love
and
this
looking
shit.
out windows.
And
Yeah.
we'll put your number in the we'll put your number
Yeah,
up now
just
so
chuck it
everybody can
down
just
there.
like ring you up, all right?
Private numbers only, please.
Yeah, so everybody put this man on blast. All right.
You got a couple good comments here from
here we go.
the one and only Phantom Truckie. You've got yourself a stalker, which definitely sounds like the case. And then it says the next one is been playing up on your missus. Don't worry, your secret is safe.
Oh mate.
And then we got another one at the end. Ski One says, "I think she wants her back blown out."
Oh, maybe.
Send him Ski's
Maybe.
way, all right? We'll put Ski's
I'll
number
send
up in
him-
the chat
send
as
down.
well.
Send them down to South Victoria for you.
Yeah, fuck
Ooh.
yeah.
All right, well, thanks heaps for that. And
You're a legend.
no
Yeah, keep
worries,
us
bud.
updated.
yeah, keep us updated.
If
Yeah.
you find like a
will.
knife with a fucking, I don't know, rodent or something on your door, then
Hopefully
let
I
us know.
start texting you because emojis are scary as any voice.
Yeah, they're just as scary, mate.
Well, thank
right,
you,
boys.
and we'll
Love
talk
the
to you later.
show.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.
Well, that was pretty cool.
All right,
We
that
got-
was pretty good.
Fucking anyone got a stalker out there? Please tell us
Yeah,
your story.
stalkers, anything like that. So the phones are open again. If you want to come through with anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Well, before that though, we're gonna play a video of us escaping this horrible cold, and they'll ride on our tail, and this is it.
There's a car coming.
Is he good? What do you say? Thanks, mate.
What happened?
The ghost bogged us.
Oh, this guy would have got it.
Oh, he would have got us out.
Yeah. This is a mask view.
Damn it.
Thanks, mate. Get a verse.
Imagine if we were stuck there forever.
That asthmatic man that's been filming it the whole time that he's been ripping into is Dylan Warren. All right, he's one of our best friends. Shout out to Dylan Warren for being on this scene, and he's going to film all of our other shit. And we'll try to get the boom mic a bit quiet, maybe muffle him up, maybe give him his asthma puffer for next time. Because the man is always smoking cigarettes and he's just always out of breath.
But yeah, so we were joking the whole time about, imagine if we get back. And my car's fucked. I took it over a jump one day, so...
as you do.
Yeah, as you do.
Commodore.
And so my whole car's just slowly falling apart. But I also don't have a handbrake, so we were pretty scared about parking on that hill. And then when we got back to the car,
all right, we got a call.
Wheel bogged.
We got a call. Couch, you're on the couch. What's going on? Yep.
Thank you for the call.
Yeah,
I think it was was it a ghost or a demon?
Yeah, was that? I think we just got the demon phone.
Yeah.
You know what we say to that? Roadcaster use my big fat fingers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, all right. Pause the ghost music. Don't waste it on nothing. All right, put the number back up in the chat on the screen, and
my bad.
There we go. But yeah, so we've been doing that. We've been doing a lot of ghost stuff. So if you guys send us a lot of, if you send us some ghost photos that you've taken, spooky selfies. I know I've had a lot of spooky selfies in my time sent to me and my family. That will be on the Patreon if you fucking back. All right, here we go. Ready? Couch, on the couch.
Yeah, g'day guys. I knew a guy that bloody took his brother over a jump, nearly killed him.
Where was this
in
jump
his car? This jump was in Cranbourne, just over some railway track.
Postcode 3977.
Yeah, around that area.
Yeah, around that area.
Nearly killed his brother. Nearly fucking killed his brother. That bloke did.
Did he?
I've heard that story before. It sounds so familiar.
It's so familiar.
All right, boys. I better go. I better leave you alone.
No worries, man. No worries, man.
Love ya.
See ya. Love
random guy. We don't know.
It's a caller.
It was a pretty epic jump, guys.
Well, whoever did it.
Yeah, whoever. I mean, yeah.
Maybe it was the ghost of Fonzie.
It might have been.
Who knows?
It might have been.
But yeah, no, the phones are open. Fucking ring in. We did so much work to get all these fucking all this cult stuff, and we've got some other ones lined up. We're not gonna blow our load and tell you what it is now, but until we got that fucking fish in the boat, we'll get back to you. But email us all your shit on the email.
Yeah, or hit our Discord. We got a little Discord set up, so if you hit the little about section, I think on the page, go in there, and there's a little part where, if you're an international viewer or whatever, and you want to call up and don't want to be charged a ton, go in there. Jump Truckie's Kenworth next. Maybe.
Well, we've got his number now saved in the phone, and he said,
Jam 411 donated $1 Australian. What's better than winning gold at the Special Olympics? Not being retarded.
That's not funny. That's not funny. All right. Well, the phones are a bit dead. So, any calls? We're doing this because he's just been so patient with us, just sitting there watching interviews, and it was a pretty hectic episode. We're gonna try to keep the interviews a bit shorter next time because he's get a little bit restless. The worms start wriggling. And they just start throwing hands in the chat.
Oh fuck! Actually, I've got something. So I think it was Vegans Rule in the chat. Go on Dead End DVD on Instagram at Dead End DVD, and you will get your copy of, I can't remember the movie, but it's a spooky movie, and because
Yeah.
you donated, you scored, baby.
Yeah, but he wants proof that you're actually a vegan, so he wants you to eat 2 full heads of lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
He wants you to eat no mayo, nothing to wash it down. Water's got amoebas in it, so that's technically not vegan. So just dry lettuce. But yes,
Raw, baby.
You've earned yourself a Blu-ray, and we'd like to thank Dead End DVD. Before that, though, we were talking about this great movie. Great movie that I watched with 2 dudes, middle of the night.
Yeah, it was probably like 2 a.m.
It was pretty good. Right. So it's called, is it coming up? Yeah, get it up in the screen. It's called, let me have a read of it. It's called Woman's Flesh, My Red Guts.
Okay,
And-
you can't really say it.
Yeah, well, I'll
get
read
the
it to
point.
you, but you get the point. And it was very brutal. It's on this iceberg, chart. I think it's about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think
It's disturbing.
40 minutes of just a chick with a toothbrush just going ham.
You can only imagine where she puts it.
And that starts.
And it's not
the
in her
start.
mouth, I'll just tell you that.
It's, it's not in her mouth.
It's her bottom mouth.
Dead End DVD donated $1 Poo poo fart fart jam jam is smelly smelly Billy Goat have small willy.
Very true.
Hello and me fart. Fart Jesse poo please give me fast times discount me want supreme high tops.
He can do that. He can do that. So yeah, another thing. So we're gonna try. I think we're gonna have a bit more of a relaxed episode next time, like with the squatches and all that. And if you've got stuff to tell, but you've got to get out there. Use the heart of the operation. We need you to go. Hey man, tell us that freaky story that you had. Before the phones call, I'll tell you some of my freaky stories that I've heard from other people, and in the ethos. So one of my favorite stories I've ever heard is called Johnny Jumps. Right, and this is how it starts. Right, so it's a bit of a fizzer. That's the thing. So this little kid Johnny, right, he's about fucking 8 or something like that. And what he does is he goes down to this little fucking ravine, which is like tiny, and he goes, I go play a parkour shit. So he's like jumping across this little trickle of water. So then eventually he goes down there one day, and there was a American football put in the water. It's placed because it's not floating, because it's like a tiny little dribble of water. And on this football, it says Johnny Jumps and has a phone number on it. So he's like, someone's obviously placed this. So then he goes home and then rings the phone number. And the phone number is Homeland Security. So Homeland Security, if you don't know, is like if you see a shifty person of any race or whatever doing stuff with bombs and shit, it's like the anti-terrorist hotline in America. So he rings it up, and the guy goes, oh, you know, why are you ringing? He goes, I just rang it off a football. And then the guy's like, just don't ever call again. So then he asks his parents, and his parents are like, we're going to sort this out. And then they come back, and he's like, what happened with that football story? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And that's where it fizzes out. So this story is really cool because, like, it's pretty deep, but like why would you make that up?
Wait, so this is a true story?
This is a true story. People are like, I reckon this is what it is. I'm like, it has no fucking ending. So like, why would you do that? Like, why would you make that up? Like, I've heard a lot of people tell stories about seeing fucking big ghouls with white fangs dripping black blood in the pitch dark. It's pitch black. Anybody writing a spooky story, it's pitch black. It's not pitch dark. All right, I don't care where you're from, but that's what I want. I want the fucking whatever spooky story. It doesn't have to end anywhere. Like, I want to be going, fucking, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah. So do you have any stories, Smiz, that fucking you want to talk about?
No, nothing off the top of my head. I'm blank. I'm leaving it to the viewers, I reckon. Hopefully you guys can come in and even just tell us. How about this? Just tell us about your most fucked up weekend.
Yeah, that's it.
What do you got?
Listen, tell us a story about your goat. All right. So my where I'm living is like has its demons, supposedly. But I'm a bit of a skeptic. But so one time I had me and my missus and my little brother Maxwell Bell, and we were in Shout out to Maxwell Bell. And then we were sitting in the house, and I'm, just spraying the AK in the toilet. It's like, like that, right?
He just had a 3-piece feed.
And I can hear this knocking. And the guys are like, oh, how are you doing the knock? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm having a shit. They're like, how are you knocking? And I go into the kitchen, and it sounds like legit, like footsteps going down the fucking hallway. And I'm like, that's too good. Like, something's going on. And so then I'm like, we got to go check outside. So I was actually rattled because I'm like, it sounds way too good to be true. And so I go around the back of the house and there's no one there. And I'm like, well, checked all the sides of it. I'll go check under it. So I go under it and I have a torch and I flash this torch and I just see these fucking 2 eyes. And then I see the rest of the body and it's me goat called, me goat's called fucking Siggy Butt Brain. And what he's... Because he ate my ashtray once, so it becomes Siggy Butt Brain, and he was like banging the floor underneath the floor of my place, and then I get Siggy Butt Brain out, and then he just fucking lines me up because he was caught under there, and he lines me up and fucking nearly KO'd me, and Siggy Butt Brain did that. So there's an explanation to a lot of things, but yeah. So anybody, please ring up and tell us your scary stories about anything. Or
do you want to take a 2-minute break?
All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break because, I don't know if you need to get credit. Right,
after that story.
Oh, no, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Thank you. Couch, you're on the couch. What's going on? Wanga!
Wanga! It's going on, pal. Yeah, well, one day I was with a bloke and went down to his shed and he had this big fucking dog there, right?
Yeah.
And fuck, I was afraid as fuck of this dog. This dog was huge.
Yeah.
So he's come at me. And I was backed up in the corner. I said, "What the fuck do I do?" And he's barking at me, and he said, "Stick your finger up his bum."
Who said that?
It was my mate.
Yeah.
He said, not the dog, obviously.
Stick your finger up your mate's bum.
Yeah. So I went, "Oh, fucking hell. All right then." So I decided to do it. Fuck, did it work?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, thinking you, mate. Thank you so much.
No worries,
that was such a scary story, man.
Boy, no, fuck it. There was a ghost in there somewhere.
Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna have a 2-minute break. All right, go hassle your mum for some fucking credit on your phone and ring us up about anything you want. All right, 2-minute break.
We want to hear you, baby.
We want to hear you. All right. Peace. We can't do all the heavy lifting here.
I know. Come on. All right.
One guy, we're back. All right. So we're not just like holding each other's dicks. We're actually doing a bit of research. We're getting some people to call up. So we're going to get the number back up and we've got some guys calling in.
Yeah, hopefully. See what happens. But
any takers, any comers. But like, if you feel free to write the number down and write it on any toilet urinal. And just
that's a good idea. Maybe that's what we should start.
Get it out there. This is the urinal campaign. All right. Yeah, write this. All right, so we've been on it, and we're getting some stickers made up. All right, here we go. Hello, you're on the couch with the cowards. What's going on? One guy.
Hey guys, Craig the Destroyer here.
Hell yeah.
Craig, how you going, mate?
Destroyer, fuck yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. I'm here with Dead End DVD, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
wow,
Dead End DVD. The one and only.
Dead End, you want to say hello?
Yeah.
This Dead End DVD.
This is Dole. This is
Dole.
You remember that ghost we had in the background that his headset didn't work?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is him. Thank you,
Where's
Dole.
he gone?
Everybody's been asking where he is.
It's like he didn't get invited or something. It's like he didn't get invited.
Mate, next time.
Mate, next time. When we got the couch.
We want you to haunt us again.
So let's go. What story do you got for us, buddy?
Yeah. So in the previous house that I lived in, there was this one room that was always like just fucking mysterious. My mum had a friend over who was like psychic or whatever, and she walked in and she just froze and said like she had to leave the room immediately. I've tried to sleep in the room multiple times and always had like the shittest night's sleeps, and it's just had, you know, a heap of, it's always cold in there, like my younger brother like saw figures and whatnot, the door opening and closing and whatnot. But one time stood out than all the others. I was with my girlfriend showing her ex-girlfriend showing her out the window on the other side of the room. Like we were just looking out the window down at this bungalow that I was in. And there was a big sort of chest of drawers behind us, like heavy as fuck, big drawers with like all these like old footy cards and whatnot in it. And we're looking out the window and the drawer just fully opened out of nowhere with the thing rattling. There was no one else in the house and it just literally opened behind us.
Jesus.
What footy card
It was,
come out?
it was like seriously fucked.
Yeah,
Gary Ablett was.
That's a rare one. Just at the bottom of the
Yeah,
pack,
that's
just
freaky.
Screamer. But yeah, that's
it was like it was fully fucked. It just opened and like if she wasn't there, like it'd probably sound like bullshit, but I've evidence that it happened. You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck. So multiple people actually saw it too.
Yeah, exactly. And we just heard the rattling of like the little handle on the drawers and turned around and it was fucking, and it was like a heavy as fuck drawers as well.
Did Doll pop out or?
Yeah. Little head popped out.
Little head popped out. Give him a shout out. He's like, have you checked this copy of
Spook Hunters?
Have you checked this episode of Snuff 17?
Yeah, no, that's my spooky story though.
No, thank you so much. We
that
really
so
appreciate it. You're the man.
Thank you so much.
No
man.
worries.
Legend.
Thank you.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can get I think there's a Bo Smiz somewhere in the chat. I don't think we've heard from him this week. Maybe he could get us
an exclusive
on what he's
a day in the life.
Yeah.
Of a
Doll popped out and was like, why didn't I get invited?
You're on the couch cowards.
Oh, g'day boys, it's Sammy Mason. How are we?
Hey, Sammy! Give him a shout out.
Oh,
Sam Mason.
yeah.
All right,
we had your mum last week.
Yeah,
and
we had your mum.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get Big Cuz on tonight. She didn't have enough stories for us.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I'll save her for a couple of other shows, mate. She's lived quite a life, so.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd call up.
Yeah.
So anyway, do you guys want to hear my story?
Yes,
we'd love it.
Yes, we'd love to hear the big
All right.
story.
Yeah, so anyway, it was a family shindig. I was about like 6 or 7. I was a bit of a young lad. And basically, it was like a 21st, because my cousins are all older than me and everything like that. And I remember during the night, there was this bloke that just kept on like scurrying around the bushes, you know, just like making noises around the place.
Yeah.
And he actually, when we were all playing the kick and the footy, he comes out of the bushes in a full like ghost-faced scream get-up. Scares the absolute fucking piss out of all of us. And I remember going to my dad. I'm like, Dad, there's a creepy bloke in the bushes. He's fucking just absolutely scared the living shit out of us. I've got tears dripping down my face. And the old man's had a couple. He's just like, no, it can't be, surely. That's not fucking happening. Like, he just, well, and then all the kids are going, I didn't hear anything. And he goes to all the uncles and aunties. He said, you, Dad? No, I didn't hear anything. So he's like, no, yeah, that's okay. And basically, right behind him, the cunt comes out of the fucking bushes again, right behind Dad, scares the absolute fucking piss. Says, oh, you fucking bastard. And he's just like, and they've all just gone and just gone like, who's this fucker? And he's just like, all right, we'll fucking get him out the joint. And he's fucking like, he scared all the kids away. He scared the living shit out of the aunties and uncles. And my dear old Auntie Anne, she's just like, all right, get all the kiddies in the house and da-da-da-da. And my uncle and the old man just like, all right, where the fuck is he? All right, let's go fuck him. Like, let's just try and pop the cunt. So basically there was like a public school nearby the place where he was. He's like, he's been down the hall. Fucking hope if he doesn't come, but watch him, because if he comes back, we'll fucking get him. And it was just like, it like fully just ghost get up and everything. I remember just like fully traumatized from that night. I actually rang my mum before, and I was like, "Do you have any stories? I've got that one story." They don't remember it. They don't remember a single. They don't remember a single fucking moment of that. I was like, I remember it clear as day. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Space.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome.
Sam Mason, everybody. What's your
what a
Tinder?
man.
What's your Tinder so they can swipe you? Chuck it out.
Oh no, just add me on Instagram actually. Slide my DMs. Smashtagram.
Smashtagram. All right, there we go.
Yeah, no
Thank
worries.
you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, Space,
No worries.
legend. I'll see you in the future. Ladies.
Yeah, no worries. Love you boys. Love the show.
Love
Have a
it,
good
man.
one.
Thank you
Cheers,
so
bro.
much.
Bye-bye.
Fuck yes. Oh, Space coming through with the
What
goods.
a legend. What a legend.
Oh, that
Yeah.
that family, they're fucking
Oh,
killing it.
mate, they're just covered in ghosts.
Yes.
Just covered in it.
Yeah, his mum did say that he has some demons,
There's
so
some-
I think
Yeah, he does have some demons.
Oh,
All right, here we go. Thank you. Hello, Couch Cow. You're on the couch.
G'day boys, it's Base Smith.
Oh, the one and only.
Oh, fuck.
God, we
Yeah.
haven't heard of him.
Have you
Yeah.
been watching the stream or what?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, of course you have. Of course you have. So,
man.
how was your work week, man? So, for
Yeah,
those who
yeah.
sorry, Bo. For those playing at home, Bo rang up with the most gnarly stories last week.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of really good stories. So like,
So yeah, he's a funeral director, and also my little brother. So he's cursed from the get go.
yeah, that's it.
So what have you got for us this week?
So what happened this week?
Oh, well, I'll give you a bit of a light-hearted one. One of the first times I ever stepped in a mortuary.
Yep.
I stepped in and there was a dead body on the table.
Yep.
And he had his arms crossed up. You know, it's hard to kind of explain over the phone, but he had them like crossed up over his chest. You know what I mean?
So he's prop so he's prop like that, or
Hey.
so someone previously
Someone's
put him
moved
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's all like prepped up, you know, up on the table. But I walked past him and I bumped the table a little, and his hands come whacking down and smacked me square on the ass. Fuck, did I jump? I fucking nearly fell through the roof. I fucking across the joint. I did, and then the bloke, the mortician that's in there, he's pissing himself. I fucking shit myself. I'm fucking nearly out of there. But yeah, I thought that was a bit of a funny one for you. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Fuck yeah.
Man,
we did have a comment from Jam saying sexual assault ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking I'll do it, man. Get a lawyer.
Can you sue the family? I wonder if that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a hands in corpse. So if you were like, so
Yeah, no, but yeah, fucking.
wild.
I'm pretty used to that shit now, though. But fucking yeah, back then
So
I
what
was
happens?
it was a weird
Did they
thing.
move a bit or what?
I mean, yeah. I
No,
guess
it's just because I moved, just because I hit the table. Like it depends, you know.
Yeah,
They might have rigor mortis, all sorts of shit. So it just depends, you know.
Fucking hell.
Once you put them in the fridge for a bit, they're pretty stiff. So.
Yeah. Have you got a gory one for us?
All right. Well, I once went to when we had the coroner's contract, I was sitting at home one night, got a call just down the road from home, and we heard like all cops and shit like that driving past home. So jumped in the car, and like I live in a country area, as you guys know. So yeah, drove down there. It was a plane accident.
Fuck.
Just a dude in like a single seater plane
Like
sort
a
of thing.
Cessna, yeah.
Yeah, it was like one of those flashy fucking, he was doing tricks and shit like that. They had a heart attack while he was up there.
Fuck. What a way to go.
Yeah, fucking nice.
He was doing something fucking cool.
Yeah,
like,
lazy,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Fuck yeah. But fuck me, what a mess.
Yeah, wow. I can only imagine.
That's my worst.
Yeah.
Was it like, would you say like burnt and stuff, or is it just a...
Nah, not so much burnt, man. More just like, I'm telling you, like, you know, like a train accident or something. Fucking, he was picking him up through the paddock.
Holy shit.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
life. It'll get
Yeah,
you.
that's it.
Yeah.
It'll grab you by the dead pecker.
Yeah, right on the dead pecker.
Well,
Here's his hack, I found it.
Did you get the old what should we call it? The old barbecue tongs? All right. Thank you so much.
Wait, before you go, Bo, we have a question from the chat. Have you ever played with a dead pecker, Bo?
Have I ever played with a dead pecker?
Yeah.
I did, no, for
Welcome to the Worm Army.
No, sorry, I haven't.
No.
That's classified information.
Thank you so much, though, Bo. These, thank you so much for these stories. Because we all need someone like Bo in our lives.
Yeah,
that's
so
100%.
you're gonna
we
be
all need a Bo one
yeah.
day in our lives. Thank
No
you so
doubt.
much, Bo.
No worries, brother.
Love ya.
Love ya.
Bye.
Yeah, love you. Bye.
Thank you so much. All right. So yeah, we'd love another caller. You know,
if you guys got anything, we want to hear anything like a sighting. Have you ever seen a UFO?
Yeah.
Have you seen a ghost?
Yeah, we haven't laughed much this episode because like we had to.
Yeah, the start was pretty heavy. That's for sure.
Pretty heavy. But also with that, please email us people that you want us to get in contact with.
Yes.
Anything like, if you're too scared to call up, please just email us and then we'll read it out.
We're trying to figure out to even through Discord, get some voice mod going, so we can even distort your voice if you're a little bit shy.
Yeah, we have some guys that even call. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Couch Gouger on the couch. Thank you, one guy.
G'day, boys.
G'day, mate.
How are you, lads?
Yeah,
the big cock daddy here.
Oh,
this is
the
a
one
big
and only.
cock daddy. Go.
He's been cracking some zingers in the chat too.
Oh no, go. What's going on?
All right. I've got a little one for you. All right, this is a bit of a fizzer though. So
yeah, that's fine.
It doesn't end too scary, but it was scary for us anyway. So back in the day when we used to try and get to a few parties, and our parents couldn't take us, we used to try and hitchhike. So it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
And one day we were in Devon Meadows, and me and a mate called Mav and Peter Kendall, we were hitchhiking about 100 metres from our house, trying to get to a party. This car ended up pulling up next to us. And he said, "Get in, boys." So we jump in. Anyway, we're driving to sort of where we need to go, which is close to where he was sort of going anyway. And he starts talking and sort of asked about our night. And we just said, we're just trying to get some poon and party on.
As you do.
Yeah, a couple poon hands.
Ladies
Anyway.
We'll have the boner effect next week. Yeah.
Please do. Anyway, sort of, he starts talking about himself, starts talking about his night, and he gets onto the fact that he's just had a massive blue with his missus.
As we do.
And
yeah, the best of us.
Been there, mate. Done that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we pulled up at a street light, like it was like a traffic light. Anyway, he looks over and stares at me, and I was in the front seat, and he's just got blood all down his face. So like,
Jesus.
I'm talking splattered down his face, and I've just gone okay. And anyway, I didn't want to ask him. I did not want to ask him how he got the blood, or yeah. So we keep on driving. Anyway, my phone goes off, and it's a text message from Peter, who was sitting in the back seat at the time, and the message goes something along the lines of, "Can't open door, can't open door." Oh. And I was like, what the fuck? So anyway, we get to another light, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try and open my door. Go to try and open my door. Can't open my door. So it was either child lock or it was something along the lines.
Fuck.
So I was in the front. I was in the front. So
it's a child lock.
Yeah. So anyway, at this point, I'm really starting to fucking shit bricks. Like, I had no idea what was going on.
So this stage, how old are you?
We would have been about 15 or 16 at the time.
Yeah, so you're like 60 kg soaking wet.
Oh, God, yeah. And he looked rough as well. And it wasn't, mate. It wasn't a nice car as well. It was a
beggars can't be choosers.
It was a clapped out station wagon. It wasn't the worst car we got into while we hitchhiked, but it definitely wasn't the best. So anyway, this is where the story sort of fizzles, mate. Not only did he drop us off at our address, he opened the door for us all like a chauffeur and let us all out. And so told us to have a really good night. So we do remember, I do remember walking off, and me and Peter and Matt were saying to each other, we were 95% sure his wife or his girlfriend was cut up in the boot, and he was just picking us up on the way to dropping her off somewhere.
Good cover story.
So that's it, boys. Loving the podcast, and enjoy the night.
You are a legend.
Much.
That was great.
That's such a good story.
I'll talk to you soon, lads.
Cheers, mate. Please drink up again.
Cheers, boys.
Legend.
DZ1, you would have taken him, Jakey.
Yeah, 100%. Jakey got them hot hands. He's got that big cock daddy energy.
This has been great.
Yeah, this has been good. This has been good.
Also, we want to thank everyone, just for even checking us out, but any new followers tonight, we really fucking appreciate that. And we're blown away at how many donations we got as well.
Yeah.
That's just unreal. That's going straight to the next interview. So if you guys have any suggestions, chuck it in the chat. Send us an email. And we got 100 followers tonight.
It was wild. We were like, oh, what are we going to do for when we get 100 followers? I'm like, well, it got to us.
Yeah.
It's already been happened. But we're going to do more stuff. But the thing is, if you send us stuff that you think that we should check out and go do, we will do it.
Yeah.
We will do it.
You want us to do a Ouija board in an abandoned house?
Dude, we'll do it.
We got you.
We'll
Send us the location, baby.
We'll do it. We'll do it. I think being on, going into this cold house, I thought it was going to be fucking nothing. And then you're there, and it's wild. We're not going to share the address, but I suggest, you seen when we went in, this place is hectic.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
If you got the background of what happened there, you kind of it makes it. It's weird, and they had these weird birds just fucking run around like little fucking velociraptors, just out of the bush. It scares the shit out of you.
Yeah, they would I said to the guys when we got there, I was like, "There's some really big birds here." Last time that I was there. And when we got there, I don't know if it was that making the crazy ass fucking sounds that were freaking us out, but there was something there, and we just watched these big birds legit high just sprint across.
Yeah, and it's they can't fly; they run. Their getaway sticks are. Pow! This is what they'll like legit. They seen us, and this is what they'll do. They just go like this, straight out of there.
And Kanye West in the chat, can I come? You know you can, baby.
Oh yeah, seriously.
But if anyone wants to come, we will actually. Maybe we can do a group thing.
Yeah, if you have Ghost House, anything that you want us to go check out,
we'll check it out with you.
We're pretty mobile. With this setup, we spent the big bucks, but we're pretty mobile with it. We can go wherever you want. We can go check it out. We just try to do shit that interests you guys.
Yeah.
And use that a livelihood of the fucking podcast, and it's been great.
I know, man. We've had 2 proper episodes, and we're on 100 followers. With my other account, I'd probably stream 30 times plus, and I was on 70. So to get past that in 2 is just unreal.
No, it's wild. It's wild.
Unreal.
And there are some enemies, not enemies, but there are people on that Twitch that we want to have more followers than. And then once we reach that,
we'll crush them.
We'll crush them. The Worm Army is strong. It is. It is.
Yeah,
and we love you. I think. So Smith, can we? So we're going to get some stickers made up. They're coming this week. Can we get them up on the screen just to show everybody? I think we can get the photo this way.
So these are just I guess the prototype kind of.
You are a prototype.
Don't cut his dick off.
So
these are just kind of so we can get this size.
Dude,
I've opened up my Facebook
and Smez's browser. It is pretty bad.
Okay, well maybe I'll give you guys a quick peek.
Yeah, a little quick sneak peek. This is how we operate the podcast.
Okay, and now we're off that. So we'll. Actually, shout out to my cousin Jamie. He's been the one that's doing.
Legit, he's been in the trenches of making our stuff.
Yeah,
and that
he did our little worm photo. I mean, like he's done it all like for us. Like he's really helped us out a ton. But yeah, if you need any graphic design work, anything like that, Jam411 on you'll see him in the chat. Send him a message, baby.
Tell him this coward sent you.
Yes. Send him tell him the coward sent you, and he'll give you 10% off. I think.
But if there's sorry, I'm just looking at this. But so these are the stickers. Well, actually, there's another one coming up. Just wait. Well, we've got the.
I think we need to.
You sent it to me, so if you go to what you sent to me. But yeah, these are the stickers coming out, and like we're really excited for. Well, I am. Dudes, like if you know what everybody that we're messaging and like trying to sign the deal on it. So here's the stickers that we're getting.
So obviously, this is gonna be. This is like it's gonna be glossy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fucking crazy quality. But
yeah,
damn, they look good.
Oh, mate, I'm shaking in my boots thinking about it. Imagine seeing that on a toilet door.
We had Big Cock Daddy 69 said that was the dude's car who picked us up.
Oh man, that's so good. Also, too, with the soundboard, if you want any sounds that we can throw in, send them through, and we'll chuck them straight on. Because that's like we got. I don't think he's realised how much effort that was to get them 2 interviews, and then like go to the site and then break in.
I mean, the hole was cut. Don't get us wrong. We didn't do that.
We were going to jump the fence, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you watch the start of the video, you see me try to climb up.
And I've already sussed it.
And then he's like, oh, there's a hole. So, I mean, we got it.
Like, legit, if you want us to send us to the address, we can. But you got to message us in the chat. And yeah, because we can't say that. We're not going to put it out here. Because we technically weren't even there.
Yeah, I mean, we were
we
were ghosts.
The guy, I wear a beanie all the time. I don't wear a jacket like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Smith's definitely not wearing the same fucking jumper.
No. It's almost the same.
It's almost the same. But yeah, if we don't get a caller right in a second, I think we're going to call someone up.
I didn't get a reply, so I think we might even leave that one. But I mean, it's nearly 10. We've had a good run.
We've had a really good run. We'll go till 10 unless someone calls.
Yeah, so that's
here we go.
JP Letter donated $6 66. Ooh, definitely copping a sticker.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Hundy.
You know it.
Couch on the couch.
Ooh.
Yo.
Oh, yo.
Hey, what's up?
Who's this?
It's Scott.
Oh, Scott, how you going?
What's up, boys?
How you going?
Up, dude?
You got a story for us?
Good. Yeah, it's a spooky, a little bit creepy.
Yeah, all right, here we go.
So years ago, I was doing demo part time while I was working on other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we're at this big 2-story house, this abandoned house in Brighton.
Mm.
And we just done all the cutouts, cut all the windows out, cut all the floor out, get all the stuff that you can sell.
Mm-hmm.
And this place is fully abandoned, so there's clothes and there's furniture and there's shit everywhere. The whole place is trashed.
So it looks like they just picked up and left almost.
Yeah, it's like they either died or something. I don't know. That's what I like to think, that they all died in the house. So we've pulled this house apart. We've there's obviously homeless people who had been living there. So we do the shutdown, and then on the following Monday we go back there.
Mm-hmm.
And around this cutout in the floor, somebody has gone through and rummaged through all the rubbish and found every pair of shoes that were in the house. And I'm talking, this hole is probably, 4 meters by 4 meters, like big hole.
Yeah.
And they've surrounded the entire thing with shoes.
What the fuck?
Pairs of shoes, like just all the way around. And then they've gone and got like all the kids' toys, like, and this is like a pretty old house, and it looked like it'd been abandoned. So all the toys are like real old, real haggard, and thrown them all in the middle. So they're just like all sitting there like a big, like shriny looking thing. We fucking smashed that house down that day. So that's where the story ends. But that's still pretty creepy.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
holy fuck.
You know, somebody like, yeah, like that takes a lot of effort because there was no piles of shoes like laying around. This is just all this shit like thrown in the skip in the garbage bin. This is a lot of effort and a lot of shoes.
Fuck,
That's
someone's been smoking that
foot
synthetic.
fetish.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy! It was weird, but that's my story.
Tyrant.
Yeah, that's it. Somebody running amok. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what I got for you.
Fuck
Thank you
yeah,
so
you
much.
are the man.
Yeah. So if any of you guys have any tatty needs, go to Golden Heart Tattoo.
How's the shout out? Thank you.
And where is that located?
They deck me out. So what is it?
Cranbourne Main Street.
Cranbourne Main Street.
Seriously.
There we go.
Tell them the coward sent you.
That's it. You don't get a discount, but I'll shake your hand.
You might get a
Give you a high
cash
five.
The stickers will be there. The stickers will be there.
Yeah,
So if you
stickers will be on the bench.
The stickers will be on the bench. So that's where
That's
you got to
it.
go for it. Thank you so much.
That's it. All right, boys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye. And Jay, please, I believe your name is. Come into the shop, baby, and we will get you some stickers. Thanks for the donation. We appreciate that.
Oh, Crunny Pools. Yes, Worms APOC. we will go to Crunny Pools.
Yes.
That was sketchy.
I remember going there back in the day.
I went there when it like first shut down, and there was blood everywhere.
It's funny you say that because that's what I remember that from there as well.
Yeah.
I remember seeing someone cut their foot on like a broken tile or something, and there was just a fucking
there was just
walkway.
a trail of blood.
Yeah.
And then when I first went there, the power was still on, and that was the scariest part. But like now, there's like people living there, going for a dip. It's cool to say,
dip in
like,
the sludge.
you know, like it's a pretty big flex to say you have a pool. It's a pretty big flex, no matter what you do.
That's very true.
But so like we've got guys lined up that can talk, that have gnarly stories, but can't have their identity shown, and that's going to be in a few episodes because the interviews are good and like it's good getting them, but like you got to put yourself out there. Like for what Ben did today and was to come on, like that takes a bit. And like everybody's a bit sketchy. Everybody thinks you're like gonna pull the pants down and embarrass them on the internet, but like they have to open up and you have to show them that like Ben's not the only guy that we talk to. We talk to a lot of guys. Like you should see Smiz's phone. It is blowing up with people that won't talk but want to talk.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
It's
and
weird.
maybe we'll release that on another thing because there's so much stuff that we made and we can't
couldn't put
release.
out, yeah.
But we don't have enough of it yet to fucking ask anybody to come have a fucking goosey gander at it. But I think that's nearly about it, guys.
Yeah, I think so. It's been great, man.
Yeah,
like
dude, it's been gnarly. It has been gnarly. Thank you so much for fucking tuning in. And I think next week we're still teeing stuff up. Like we're not going to say what we've got yet because it's actually pretty gnarly. But we'll put it once we've 100% got that fish in the boat. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
So you can do a bit of research and like know what we're talking about.
I mean, I think even like just then we have a comment from Dan and DVD. You guys ever going to do a movie review segment?
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's like, something that we'll kind of work on. We'll sit there and maybe watch a fucked up movie like we did with that.
With that movie that you brought over, he insisted that we watch.
Yeah. He forced us almost like with those eye things, like the fucking
He told me it was Cars 4.
Yeah.
All right, he goes, this is Cars 4. I'm like, this looks nothing like it. I don't remember them brushing their teeth or anything like that. But legit, so there's this thing at the moment. I'm going to send it to Smiz. If you can put it on the chat. It's called the Iceberg.
Yeah.
The Iceberg of like good and good movies that you can watch that are like really creepy and shit like that. And he can get all the legal ones. And then like, if he could get the ones that are bad, don't really want to talk to Dole about it. Like, it's pretty scary. But like,
yeah, we'll send that through. Another comment we have, DZ1, any more gaming streams? I think we're probably going to do the gaming streams just Wednesdays until we get affiliate rank, and then I'm not too sure. If that's what you want to watch, like, we'll do it. But otherwise, we'll probably save that for maybe like my little stream, which is just, it should be at the bottom of this page. Otherwise, just Smizzart, SMIZZART. I might do that after this, to be honest, but like every time we end up celebrating a little bit too hard when we get off this, and once you're a few shots deep, you kind of lose interest. Do t-shirts by Kanye West. That is, I think, maybe in the works, but like, I mean, dude, we're so small at the moment. Like, I think maybe we could do like a small range. I think of those little like metal font couch cowards, I think that would be fucking killer on the tee.
Cool. No, we will do it. We will do it. If the interest is there, we'll 100% do it. It's just like, you know, it's kind of hard when like you've done 2 episodes like we got shirts. Like our following is great. Like this is unbelievable that we're just talking shit and he's just still here, which is sick. You know what I mean? And like we will do that. We will do that. The stickers are gonna come, and then it's like the next thing. What's going on?
Sorry, we just had Kanye West said do trucker hats, and then we had the Phantom Truckie. I'll buy 3.
Oh, dude, I can't believe we got the Phantom Truckie. Like, what a mad guy. So we got in contact with the Phantom Truckie before, and he said he was going to give us a weekly story. So,
yes, and we're really looking forward to it. He seems to be the love of the chat.
He seems to be the dad of the chat.
Yes.
Like, he's our dad. And like, you know, who's going to deliver them turnips? Like, I don't know what he delivers. I don't know what he's got on the back. It could be immigrants or whatever he's got. I don't know what he's got. I'm not going to ask him. If he wants to let us know what he's got in the back of that truck, he'll let us know. And as you let us know, no, he hasn't. But I'll take 1,000. But yeah, no, like, that is in the pipeline. But we have goals that we want to reach. We want to... I
mean, we already blew the follower one out of the water.
Yeah,
like,
out of the water.
Just not even
But we have guys that we want to beat, and then when we beat them, we will release something extra special.
Yeah,
because there's so much stuff.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, legit. If you want anything or like message the Instagram, message anything, and we will go follow that up, because that's what we've been doing. And you know, like, it takes a bit for people to reply, but that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, it takes a lot for other people to reply, as in guests, interviews, that kind of shit. But not us, baby. Hit us up. We'll get back to you.
We're quick on it. Any story, big or small. That's the thing too. Like, we're not going to come in here and rip yous or anything like that. But yeah, and also we do want more sounds for the soundboard. So if you can send it in, we'll put it on.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's it, because we're pretty quick on it. Oh, but legit, we'll see you on Wednesday. And if you have suggestions of games that we should play, we will do it. I think, if you got, it had to be horror themed though.
Yeah, I mean, or just something fucked up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, if you got anything like that. But like with the videos and shit too, send us any videos.
Yeah, you can hit up our Discord or you can hit up our email. Send them through, and like, we'll fucking watch them on stream. As long as, like, obviously there's no copyright music to get us banned. Yeah. But
we'll have someone proofread them, but then we will watch them live on the stream.
Mm-hmm. All right. But, I think we'll end it there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. we have hit.
Been great. Has it been great?
Yes.
It's been spooky. It's been everything. And thank you so much. Yeah.
Also, go watch the Leprechaun in the Hood video.
Leprechaun in the Hood. Give that some love.
Hilarious.
That's yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks again, guys. We fucking love you all. Wanga!
Wanga!
Peace out.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.